Welcome to the weekly Wednesday Colts Fan Cole show. I am your host, Colts Fan Cole, and unfortunately, two melancholy, low energy introductions the last two weekly Wednesday Colts Fan Cole shows because this week, while was scrapping the barrel for content, looking at what free agencies we can talk about, draft. Unfortunately, the leader of this team and franchise for years now, Jim Irsay, has we knew he was ill with a respiratory illness, and now some more details have come to light. So we'll talk about that. Still talk about all things draft, Colts news. Keep it team centric, but definitely have to jump into the Jim Irsay conversation to start. But first, I'm presented by Rose Ink Official. Go get your 3-inch fine line tattoos starting at just $120. That is Rose Ink Official by Anita B. Beauty LLC. Put it in the Google machine. It'll pop up. Say ColtsFanCole sent you for $10 off your Rose Ink services. She also offers permanent makeup, so eyeliner and eyebrow microblading. That is Rose Ink Official. Say ColtsFanCole sent you for $10 off your next service. So there's no good way to really talk about the Jim Irsay stuff. So I'm just going to rip off the Band-Aid and first give a set of facts and then kind of give opinion, my nuance, what my takeaways are on the matter. So again, love the thoughts and prayers going through Colts Nation. Some of the troll hating accounts, just try and ignore them. They have nothing better to do than to stir up some of that controversial bull crap. First and foremost, we want the best. What's for Jim Irsay? And again, I am just a fan of the Colts, as are you. I just happen to talk about it weekly, so I have no other information than what I've sussed out, and do have an IU journalism degree, so just looking through the actual report of what happened, nothing really I have to share further than that, and I'll make sure to know when it's a hard stop at the fact and when I'm getting into my opinion. So first, what the facts are: Carmel police were called to Jim Irsay's house at 4:30 in the morning on December 8th. So Jim started in his bathroom, made his way to his bed where he was cold to the touch, had a bluish tint to him, and was very lightly and inconsistently breathing. He was administered Narcan by the first responding police officers, and he had a low response to the Narcan, but a response nonetheless, and then was taken into a hospital where he, came back 8 days later for the Pittsburgh Steelers game, and that has been photographed by the team of him in the locker room. Hunched back, unfortunately, and all, still, using a cane heavily. And the only other things that I can share on that, his back surgery was months prior, but still, obviously, from what we've seen the past, latter half of the season, him in the locker room, kind of hunched over, with an obvious amounts of pain. So that's kind of what the facts are. He hadn't been seen since the Steelers game in public. So again, that was 8 days after the incident at his home. He went to the Pittsburgh Steelers game, and then after that game in week 15, it would have been December 16th, he has not been seen publicly. And then the team, immediately after the season, let fans know of his condition, issuing a statement. And the statement that got released today after the news broke from TMZ, Fox 59, was as follows: Mr. Irsay continues to recover from his respiratory illness. We will have no further comment on his personal health, and we continue to ask that Jim and his family's privacy be respected. Again, kind of a moral weird spot for me, being such a heavy fan, but knowing that we talk about all Colts news here, and I try and be as homer fair, from an optimistic Colts standpoint as I can. But this is where I'm going to get into my opinion. So, back pain, older man, surgery, lived a hard life, in terms of how he treated his body, through powerlifting, through what he put in his body. I don't, believe that normal remedies could have helped him cope with that back surgery. And again, this is no fault of his own, in terms of, uh, well, I don't even want to say that. I guess I'll say it's. I don't see how he could manage that pain through normal remedies, and no, doctor of any prowess should have prescribed a addict any painkillers. So I don't know how, if and how they were acquired. But my opinion is that since he had any sort of reaction, again, talking to a few police officers, to the Narcan, I would lean that there was something of substance in his system. And again, this is all opinion. This is I know nothing. I know nothing other than facts presented, opinion now, and I only say that because, it is weird that he was able to come back so quickly, 8 days later, be in the locker room, and then it kind of hit him again, and be out with this respiratory illness. So, I don't want to make any accusations, but kind of my mind is there, and I even danced around it to this point of how much I hate to say it, but again, the main caveat I can't get over is I don't see how his family would enable him, to come back 8 days later after a supposed overdose, and be in that locker room. But to me, that almost makes it a little more worrisome because if I'm being dead honest, I know diehard Colts fan, diehard Jim Irsay fan, whatever happens, whatever the truth is, my bio will stay the same. He's engaged with a few of my tweets still to this day. Of his last 10 tweets, I'm pictured in two of them that he's liked. So that means a lot to me, and he's meant a lot to this franchise, and hopefully he gets better. But the fact, he's since taken a turn, and Jeff Herrada, notable linebacker, in the '90s for us, good relationship with Mr. Irsay, tweeting about giving prayers, just a few hours ago. I don't believe this is a good situation, and again, I hope I'm wrong. He was liking tweets as much as a week ago, but, to me, if they enable him to go in the locker room and they knew it was something with drugs, frankly, I think it's only one of two things. One, it wasn't drugs, and it was an actual respiratory issue. And what they know about Irsay's history, they administered Narcan, thinking there's a potential to which they did the right thing. But my other thinking is if they allowed him to go in the locker room not soon after, one, billionaires get what they want. You're not going to tell him no when he owns the team, if he's that persistent. And two, I hate to say this, but again, all speculation, all opinion. Could it be toward the end with how this turn's taken? Could they have kind of known something, as he hasn't given his usual end of season pressers, or really anything of the sorts? Nothing even really on Twitter other than some thumbs up, some hearts, in the week since. So again, I hope I'm dead wrong, but, that's kind of my thoughts, about the current situation. And again, you're not going to find a bigger Jim Irsay stan than me. No matter what the truth is, barring something heinous, which in this case, it could be a personal slip up, a relapse. But I think if you're in that amount of back pain and you've gone years being able to cope with it, and having the surgery and not being prescribed what you want, and in obvious physical pain, how he was hunched over for weeks when we saw him publicly. If he, he's a powerful enough man to take matters into his own hands, and, yes, he was able to bounce back, but, I'm being told from police officer friends, and family I have, that's not all too common, and it's not necessarily a shocking thing if he were to, bounce back quickly, just to kind of have another, brush with a respiratory illness that could have derived from that, or led into something else. And again, it brings me no joy or nothing. I don't want to talk about this. I just feel like it is the most newsworthy story, in Colts Nation for sure, and one of the bigger stories, in sports right now. So I can't not address it. But there's the fact, there's the opinion. Prayers for him. I really hope he makes it. I hope the situation improves. But personally, I'm a little scared right now for the health of Mr. Irsay and um, what given the facts what they are. But again, I'm just a talker on Twitter, so not to too quickly and harshly pivot, but I will. Again, 8 minutes here. If it's your first time on the Colts Fan Cole show, welcome. First 20 minutes are monologue. There went the first 12. I go to 8:50 and then do one-on-ones with anybody who wants to come up and speak. And then once everybody gets a chance to speak, we go to group discussions. So more notes on Colts news. Nothing, of that big of an interest. But just to continue on with the show, Ed Dodd's interviewing with the LA Chargers today. Jim Harbaugh's a heavy candidate into that. The Philly coaching staff could get shaken up. So we'll clear on. Okay, sorry. Philly coaching staff could get shaken up. We'll see if Shane Steichen poaches anybody. Brian Johnson. I know I tweeted a picture of him and AR. I don't have a firm wanting either way, but that picture was enough to get a firm no from a lot of Colts fans on Anthony Richardson's offensive coordinator in 2021. Again, he was not the starter. But good history with Brian Johnson, the Florida OC quarterbacks coach, and Anthony Richardson. So I wouldn't mind, getting him in again. Not to take the job of Jim Bob for sure, nor to take the job of Cam Turner, the quarterbacks coach, but get him in the building. Steichen makes some magic with some of these guys. Let's bring back some of the best, especially if Philly's gonna kick them by the wayside anyway. Only other few things of note: Matt Hawk, the punter for the Colts last year, has gone to the Buffalo Bills to punt for them in the playoffs. Their punter got injured, so Matt Hawk started all 17 games for us last year. Started off pretty rough and ended up kind of averaging out to his season totals. And the Colts do have a new player. It is Terrell Bynum, the 2023 undrafted free agent out of USC and Washington. He saw one game of regular season action with the Chargers at wide receiver and exactly one play actually on offense. And he's 6 foot, 188 pounds, and he had 7 career college touchdowns. A few minutes left here quickly to set the scene for one-on-one/group discussion. If you want to talk about the free agency class, just want to mention that what's upcoming. Free agents for the Colts going into this offseason are Grover Stewart, Kenny Moore, Taven Bryan, Gardner Minshew, Rigoberto Sanchez, Michael Pittman Jr., Tyquan Lewis, Isaiah McKenzie, gone. Jake Martin, Julian Blackmon, Zach Moss, Jannard Avery, Juwan Winfrey, Jack Anderson, Henry Black, Danny Pinter, and the next 3, Denbo, McGrone, Saguna Luby, have all been signed to a futures contract, and Tony Brown has been waived. Let me draw a Colts card from the random Colts card bin, riff on it, and we will get to some one-on-ones here. Drawing a Colts card from the random Colts card bin. And we have a Luke Rhodes long snapper card. So Luke Rhodes, an all-pro Luke Rhodes long snapper for the Indianapolis Colts. So good man. Great hair for sure. Always a fun one to root for the unsung heroes like the long snappers on the team. Alrighty here. 4 minutes left until one-on-ones, but I don't really have too much else. Let me do one more scene set. Again, hit that request button. Everybody gets a one-on-one, and then we go to group discussion. To set the scene too, I'm just going to mention potential cap casualties. Who's the highest, salaried guy going into next year? Obviously, Quentin Nelson not going anywhere. Buckner not going anywhere. Smith, does have a lot of money on the table, but again, I don't see him going anywhere. Ryan Kelly, ended up balling out this past year, but he is fourth on the cap hit list. So three of the top four are offensive linemen: Jonathan Taylor, Ebiacom, and then Richardson, Mo Alley. So you could imagine, unfortunately, Mo Alley. This might finally be the one that gets away. But yeah, so if anybody wants to hop on here, I will start accepting people to request. Again, any topics yours. Just felt like I had to say kind of a note about Irsay at the top, but would love to talk about all things free agency and anything else. Let's see. We have here. Oh, first we got Undisputed. Literally the worst person on X, Undisputed. Thanks for coming on the
Oh
show.
shit! I'm never first.
Hey, no,
Oh, I could set.
slow request
I
day,
can
but
set
that's
the
all right.
fucking
Some,
tone
some.
right from the beginning. Yeah, no, it's 100%. It's time for Jim Irsay to step down. I know you're not going to want to hear it. I know there's probably people that don't want to hear it. No matter what the scenario is, whether it wasn't drug overdose or whether it was, whatever accidental, this, that, or another, he's got to, he's got to focus on him. And if it was drugs, then it's even more. If it was like intentional or anything else, like, I mean, it was kind of wild seeing this today. The one thing people were losing their minds over was like he was at the Steelers game, and somehow that meant that like he wasn't, that wasn't the hospitalization wasn't drug, because of the overdose. I mean, you can have complications weeks, months later. So just, it's time, dude. It's time. It's time. It's time. Like I know you're one of the biggest Ursay fans, so I know that kind of sucks. But I think even you are kind of even, are you starting to kind of start to lean that
I,
way?
I'm not team step down.
I'm
I
not saying he has to
only
sell the
because
team.
I'm
Like there are some people that are like,
yeah
take the team. No, that's retarded. I'm not saying that.
right. Like you're saying, name
Yes, yeah,
Kalen
exactly. Pass
or
it down to your daughters.
somebody
Yeah,
the next in command.
yeah.
I really hate saying this, and this is purely opinion. I think the situation's like dire. So I think that's kind of the last of the agenda items for a formal statement for him to come on and say, like, again, praying he makes it, hope he makes it. I don't know if I'm just reading too in
Wait,
between the tea
are
leaves,
you
but
saying like you think it's dire, like he's about to die?
that's the term dire.
I
Again,
didn't know that it was like that. Even I didn't even know. I assumed it's just yeah.
he hasn't the sharp decline and after being kind of on the up and up after the incident
Mm-hmm.
and to just go into the game and then to not be seen for what over a month now in public after such a bad loss, like,
Yeah,
and just a couple tweets to come from him. I'm pretty worried, but again, I hope I'm wrong, and I don't want to
yeah.
spew
Well, then
that. Again, it's opinion,
yeah,
but I don't think that this is the. I don't
yeah.
know.
This
I don't think this is the top of the. Let's call for him to step down or him to even issue a statement that he's no longer in charge. I think it's a let's hope to God Jim
Oh,
Irsay,
okay. Well, so
fights
if it's
through and
that,
makes
I
it.
didn't even know it was that extreme. But like I had tried telling, like people were just like, it can't be a OD. Like he was seen at the game, which for one, that picture at the Steelers game, he did not look good. And two, I kind of used the example of I had a good, obviously Indiana. One of the things we are famously, infamously known for is small town shitty drugs like meth and all that bullshit. But I had a friend who I think it's been like 8 years now or something, had an overdose, was out of the hospital within a day or two, and a month later went back into the hospital, and within 2 days he was on a ventilator, and like day or two after that his family had to pull the plug. Like so, it's like complications can happen. It causes problems to your organs and everything when you have that. And so it's just like it's not good. If that's what it was, I didn't even know it was that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't.
Well, again, I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point from Golden Mom. Rehab that has been kind of floated around in my, thinking today. But to me, the support system letting him go to the game 8 days later is either there were no drugs involved, or it's one of three things. There were no drugs involved. He's a billionaire and he does whatever the fuck he wants. Although I think he would hear out Carly, his other daughter, whose name I'm forgetting, and then Kaylin. I think he'd hear them out without going into the locker room 8 days after an overdose. Or the third option is um, the most tragic one, which could be, hey, he's not doing good. Like, if he wants to go see the team while he's still in good spirits, go in there. And again, I hope to God I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You say like you didn't realize the situation was that. I don't know that.
Uh,
I don't know that at all. Let's hope he's in like the nicest Beverly Hills type of rehab clinic if it was drugs, and if not, let's hope he's in like the best possible spirits. But there's a lot of things that I'm kind of looking, and I've wrongly put together a million things before on this show, jerseys included. I thought for sure we were wearing the midnight blue helmets, the throwbacks with the white three rings,
yeah.
not a new black helmet. I was so wrong about that. So I'm down to be wrong on this one, but I am honestly very worried.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, as far as everything else, Chris Ballard is still ass. I don't know what else. We didn't have much other news, did we?
No, no news. We got a wide receiver to a futures
Oh
contract,
God.
um,
Didn't have
and
a
then Ed
didn't have a
Dodds
high RAS
looking
score.
to
I did
looking to
I
probably
did
leave.
see that. Had a really shitty RAS score. Did Ballard realize that his strategy is trash, or what? We turn in the Leafs, or what? I don't know.
We can get into draft
No,
talk,
no,
but
I was talking about
yeah, I was fired up
the
last
guy that they
time. No,
signed.
no, no. I
Yeah,
know. I get what you're saying. I was fired up last spaces about we just need to start drafting football guys, and I bet that's kind of music to
oh
your
yes,
ears as well. But
yes, absolutely.
yeah, I think Ed Dodds potentially leaving too was the other big news. Philly coaching staff
Yeah,
maybe
would have.
poaching from them.
Yeah, that I would be surprised if he goes. But anything else? I think the only other thing I'll say is my Florida State Seminoles have just been absolutely crushing the portal since Nick Saban left. Thanks to all the Alabama players joining the better university, and we will go undefeated again. And I guess I'll just let everyone else spew their nonsense until group talk, and then everyone can yell at me. So
Yeah, appreciate it. Undisputed.
yep.
We will catch you in group discussion. That is undisputed. Um, I see you, Sal. Let's go ahead and add Salmon, just because he was requesting right out the gate and did send a nice message. Has been following me. Thank you very much for coming on. Is this your first time? Apologies if I don't
Is
remember.
this am I oh yes, this is my first time ever being on one of these. And I'm not the most
Okay, welcome.
die-hard Colts fan, but I've just been following you and I just saw that this was open, so I just wanted to see what this was all about. Um I just have like some
Sure. Yeah. Open.
questions.
Open. Yeah. Open forum. Anything you got.
All right, so I was wondering what players you would think we would need to resign to stay up to par for what we just did recently in our season, or players that you want to resign,
Sure.
and stuff like that. Just players in the off season.
Sure. Yeah. Grover Stewart, Kenny Moore, no doubt about it. You got to. But even the above the you got twos of Grover and Kenny, Michael Pittman Jr. Pay him whatever he
Oh yeah,
wants.
I
Like
love him.
wide receiver one plus money. Like you can't let that guy get out the building. He is your cornerstone. He loves the
Oh
team.
yeah,
Again, love Jonathan Taylor. Love the deal that got done. But guess who's been waiting in silence, and not making a stink about things? Michael Pittman Jr.
oh
You need
yeah,
to reward the guy who's been doing it the right way. Played all season besides the concussion from a illegal hit. But yeah, and then yeah, Taekwon would like to see back. Isaiah McKenzie, no. Julian Blackman up in the air. I do prefer Jimmy Chin just because he's a local guy and I'm biased like that, but would like Blackman back too. I don't think Zach Moss. I don't think we'll choose to pay him, and that's no fault of his own. He overperformed this year. And I don't really think anybody else. Maybe take a flyer on Danny Pinter if he's cheap, just because he's been in the system and was projecting well before his unfortunate injury.
yeah. I agree with those. That's good takes. I'm a big fan of Michael Pittman. That's the guy that actually got me into liking the NFL and the Colts and he's been, I think, one of the most underrated receivers in the league because he hasn't really um asked for a big contract, and he's been producing almost every year under a one of the top running backs, and also a bad quarterback situation for the past couple years. And I think he really deserves getting paid.
Oh yeah, yeah. In my opinion, he deserved it before Jonathan Taylor did, just because of health. Again, no knock on JT. He's obviously a tier one back, but Pittman may be a tier two ish receiver in terms of NFL personnel looking at him, but he's an A1, guy, locker room guy. Not to say JT wasn't, but things did get a little ugly there. So um, Pitt did things the right way and should be rewarded as such.
Yeah, and I was also wondering about the hit on Michael Pittman. Do you think who do you think is in fault, or if anyone's not in fault? What are your takes about that?
Well, the most at fault is our safeties coach, Mike Mitchell, who used to play for the Steelers 1 year with the Colts, for going on Twitter immediately after the game and being like, I don't know what to teach my safeties. Like, yeah, you can think that, bro, but your best player, just got his dome rocked by a player who's had previous incidents in the league. He's the loser in all this, but yeah, obviously, it was an illegal hit. I don't see how anybody said otherwise. But it is football. Like, you're gonna get your bell rung. People are gonna be put in awkward situations with their bodies, and you're gonna get a concussion if you play in the NFL. That's for sure. So glad he rebounded. Unfortunately, it wasn't during the week we needed him. With Atlanta, we would have won that. We could have been in a little more business with potentially making it. Um, but again, I'm glad he was able to play the last two games of the season.
Yeah. All right, that's all I had.
Thanks. Yeah, please come back and we do group discussion after one on one. So right now I have four one on ones in the wing, and usually around no later than 10 we get to group discussions, especially in the off season. So hope to have you
Yep.
back.
Thank you.
Thanks. Glad to have a newcomer here. We have Scotty Colt Logan next. Curious his takes on the Jim Irsay, or if anything I said was kind of out of pocket. I tried to keep it as clean and factual with a little bit of opinion sprinkled in there. But I am very worried, honestly, Logan, and curious your thoughts about that, or if you just want to avoid the topic like I do, just go straight into who we should cut going into next year to save some cap room to sign a big free agent.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely worried. I mean, like the thing with addiction is it doesn't really matter how long you have clean. It's always kind of hanging over your head. So it's unfortunate. I mean, I hope it's a misunderstanding and TMZ's just doing TMZ shit. But I mean, just looking at it all and how secret it's been, it's kind of worrisome. So definitely just kind of sitting back and waiting to see how it all turns out, but praying for Jim regardless. Hope he makes a recovery. I mean, he's a great person. You can say what you or you can have your opinions on how he runs an organization, but he's really is a good dude. But I was more so
Absolutely.
curious, um, who would we replace Dodds with? Because I mean, odds are he's probably going to like LA. And I'm just wondering
Yeah,
who's next in line, or if we would bring someone from the outside.
yeah, no, knowing Ballard, we'd promote within. Morocco Brown hasn't been interviewed this cycle, but I believe it was either last cycle or I think it was last cycle. He interviewed for the Pittsburgh GM job, so he often goes to the gosh,
Really, I
it
didn't
was
know
this
that.
it was
I didn't know he interviewed
yeah,
for that.
yeah, he did. He did. I think it has been his only GM interview, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas Dodds has been, gosh, countless now, and I really think my money's on Dodds going to LA and bringing Jim Harbaugh with him, and that would be that would be crazy. I hate the Chargers for what the Rivers era did to us, but it would be hard to not watch what they could build there. But
Are they
yeah, it'd be
tied?
Morocco Brown, promote within, I would guess.
Why? Like I've seen that before. Like why are they so like linked together like that?
Yeah,
Do they
no,
have
no
like
idea.
previous connections or something?
The St. Elmo's interview, Ed Dodds must have been there instead of Ballard with Jim Harbaugh. I'm kidding. There's no way, but yeah, no idea. It is weird because they said if he goes to Vegas, Harbaugh's coming. If he goes to L.A., Harbaugh's coming. So um, yeah, weird. Whatever crossover they have, I'm sure if you dig into any of these football minds, they've had plenty of conversations or interactions with a ton of different coaches and organizational staff.
Is Harbaugh actually going to leave this time? I feel like we go through this like yearly.
So he wants sanctions, or he wants in his contract to be exempt from like sanctions or being fired with cause. I have no idea how that's possible. You can write that in the contract, but if there's one guy to trust with that, like Jim Harbaugh may, have bent the rules to say the least about scouting, or every college head coach knows exactly what's going on. So I won't. Look the other way for that. There was definitely some funny business going on with Jim, but he won at his alma mater. What more is there really to do other than you can't really go up from here. Like Georgia will always be there. Like they barely beat Alabama on a down Alabama team, even though yes, I know they beat Georgia, but any other Alabama team would have beat the crap out of that Texas team early in the year. So yeah, I think Jim does make the leap if I were to guess, and I bet it's L.A.
That would definitely be interesting with Herbert. Kind of scary, to be honest. But what can you do?
Yeah, it is the Chargers though. Like they always find a way to collapse.
Yeah, yeah. Herbert really hasn't proved much in the postseason, at least.
Right.
Choking a 27-point lead to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's all I got.
Cool. Anybody on that list we mentioned of free agents? Any big, can't miss guys? Obviously Pittman, Kenny, and Grover. Anybody else outside of those top three? Garner. What are your thoughts on Garner bringing him back? Is it like for the right price, or you kind of want to look elsewhere to maybe draft like more of an archetype of Anthony Richardson?
Well, first off, I really want those three back. I think you kind of hit it on the head. Like those three are probably the most important pieces. Um, as for Gardner, it definitely has to be the right price. I mean, the man won 9 games for us this year. I mean, it wasn't pretty at times, but he somehow won 9 games, and he's very familiar with Shane's system. So I'm definitely not opposed to bringing him back. But I would definitely be intrigued. Like, I don't know how I feel about bringing in a rookie quarterback to sit behind AR. I mean, I guess if it's kind of the same skill set, I trust that Shane would obviously be able to develop him, but I just feel like I'd be more comfortable with bringing Gardner back. But if even if he wants to come back, I mean, I don't know if he's really played his way into a starting job anywhere, but
Right.
uh, there might be some teams willing to pay him more than us. But what do you make this year? Like 2.5 mil? I know he got the bonus.
Yeah, it was like right at three
But
with some incentives, I believe.
yeah, and I think he hit like that 2 mil bonus, but I don't know if we can get him for 4 or 5 mil. I think Drake and I were talking about this, and like the highest paid backup is sitting at about 8 mil, and that seems kind of steep for me. But if we can get him at 4 or 5, or maybe if we can just put some incentives like we did this year, and take a less cap hit, I'd be down for that. But or Brissett, you
Yeah.
know, I love Brissett too, but yeah, I trust whatever Shane Steichen thinks. He's got my full support.
Yeah, agreed. To me, Steichen's obviously earned his plenty of his say. You can argue, Ballard definitely helped with depth, and picking good enough guys that Steichen can win with. But Steichen won with unsung guys all year. Like to me, Steichen deserves the biggest, like, maybe not 50-50 because you got to have a, especially with Irsay out, you got to have a guy making all the decisions, and that is Ballard. But you gotta trust Steichen to be more in with personnel. Like, he's already just an absolute,
especially
wizard at drawing up.
offensive.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That reminds me, who takes over? Like, who's the heir of Ursay? Like, which one of his daughters? I know I've seen ones like one is more business side, one's more football operation. What it? Because he has three daughters, right?
Yeah, I think the one married to the Foyt family, which is a big racing family, I'm not sure she's super involved in the business as much as Kaylin, who is the face. Like, she'll be the one tweeting, doing giveaways, community service. To me, that's Kaylin. Carly Gordon Ursay is more of the business minded. I saw her in Germany when she walked right in front. She had a headset on already, and she just got to the building, taking calls, calling the booth, whatever, all that sort of stuff entails. So, um, I think the face will be Kalen, but I think too there's a chance that uh, they could, hire like a kind of a president of football operations, like a Polian was, or even if they trust Ballard, which is going to make some of you puke on here. I could easily see them, again, God forbid, prayers up to Mr. Ursay, but if something were to happen before next season, I could easily see Ballard being promoted into a role and being more of the face, where Kalen will do like the good PR stuff, Carly will run operations, and the other daughter, I'm not necessarily sure what her overall involvement with the team is.
Interesting. Okay.
Again, pure. We love to speculate, so here's all my
Right.
speculate. This is the one of speculation. We have, unfortunate news, but news nonetheless to discuss. So good question there for sure. And then
Nice. Cool.
anything else, Logan? And love to have you back for group discussion if you are able.
Yeah, I'll just stick around for group.
All right, thank you, Logan. Let's get
Thank
to
you.
Augustine next, and we have Briar Fritz. Augustine, man, thanks for coming back. Always appreciate your great perspective and insight on things. The floor is yours. Anything Colts, Augustine, go ahead.
Hey there, Cole. Good evening, everybody. Uh, well, just praying for Mr. Irsay to get better. No matter like what's the situation about, I think we just need to be mindful of like um, keeping him in our prayers for him to get better. Um, Regarding the question that you said about the players, the contract players that they might be caught, because of their uh, our cap situation. I think like between the ones that I see and like savings we might get, the one that would make I think some sense regarding of the savings, it might be Ryan Kelly. I think like if I'm not mistaken, what I'm reading here on the overthecap.com webpage, if we cut him before June 1st, we will get just a debt money of how much it says here, 2.2 million, and we will get savings of $12 million. So, like, money wise, it will make sense, but football wise, if we don't have like a good plan to replace him, it wouldn't make sense. So I haven't checked as much as the statistics for Wesley French. That was the one, the backup center after um, Danny Pinter got injured. Uh, to see like if it will be reliable, like to keep him and then get that extra money for the cap. So we'll have to see that. The second one that I see that it will make sense, but money wise, again, it will be DeForest Buckner. But that wouldn't happen. If we cut him, we will save around like 20 million, I think, on the on the cap. But again, like his production, what he has given the Colts, it's like irreplaceable. So uh, for me, like football wise, wouldn't make sense. That would be the ones that I think that will have like a little sense to do. But um, anyways, that's all. That's all I just wanted to say.
Oh, thank you, Augustine. Yeah, good call outs. I agree with you. Definitely not Buckner, obviously. I don't see them cutting Kelly. It would save what, like $8 million if I'm reading this right, 8-9 million. But I just don't see it, especially with Richardson on a rookie deal and Kelly, bouncing back bigly for sure this year. Mo Alley Cox is a $5 million guy. We can, pretty much dollar for dollar for him. He has a roster bonus as well, so
And
I just
he doesn't
if
have dead money if we cut him, so that could make sense too.
yeah, unfortunately too, because if you're a longtime listener of the Colts Fan Cole show, you know that I've met him on 65th Street in Kroger, the nicest guy. But yeah, sorry, Mo Alley. And then yeah, some of these other names. Be curious to see if we pick up Quiddy's fifth-year option. Franklin's not going anywhere. Yeah, some of these other pieces are young. Definitely a young team. Don't see much much turnover other than like a shocker of Kelly Cox, which was the exact same rumor as last year going into this year. So, um, yeah. Anything else, Augustine, before we get to the next caller and group discussion?
Well, just thinking about the future after Jim Irsay. I think the one that I have like noticed more, on the football operations side would be Kalen. I think I don't know that she will be the one like transitioning of being the owner, and if that happens, I'm hoping that she could get a good start of tenure. The only thing is that we don't have much to statistics around the league about women owners. We just have two examples, and both they have like different results. We have the case of the owner of the Lions that right now they're like doing great. They just like broke their 33 years course in playoff wins, which now that course belongs to the Miami Dolphins. So right now that would be right. There will be some people crying desperate next season. Um, and the other case that we have, which is not going good so far, it's the owner of the Titans. So it could go either way, but I think that the exposure that she has had on the football operations area, it might help her. If she has to take the reins of the Colts. And if that happens, I don't think she will have much patience with Chris Ballard anymore. I think Ballard has bought a couple years with the Anthony Richardson pick, but he needs to start delivering. Already in the 8th year, we haven't won a division championship, and that's what at the end, also beside the Super Bowl wins, what you measure a GM for.
Yeah, good points there. Interesting thought process on her potential moves again. Try not to look too far ahead, and definitely thoughts and prayers as you said at the top with Jim Irsay. But there are a few other female owners. McCaskey with the Bears. I think Paul Allen's wife, took over in Seattle. I could be wrong if they would have sold, and then Benson in New
Oh yeah, I
Orleans.
forgot Joey. I forgot
But
Joey.
yeah, no, all good. But I think the main difference is it's a passing down. and we haven't really seen that recently in the league, unless I'm kind of, usually it's sales. But again, I think the Ursays are set up. They're not going to sell. Like you said, Kalen's big in the community, big on Twitter, and with Carly being so involved, I just don't see them selling. I think the bigger issue, again, hopefully years and years in the future, years and years and years in the future, um, they could maybe appoint kind of a bigger football operating name, than to have those, because I don't know, they might, but when you kind of have like three siblings, and it's like maybe you could do the kind of democracy, but two of them are really in it and one of them seemingly isn't as in it. I think there could be some conflict that hopefully Jim would set up for them to avoid that and keep their sibling relationship first and foremost. And but again, as a fan, do whatever it takes to not leave Indianapolis. Like, I want to win. I want to do whatever it takes to get another Super Bowl. But if it's not in Indianapolis, it doesn't matter to me. It has to be here. It has to be, where I live with my team. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, without getting, too ahead of the um, main point, which is thoughts and prayers to Jim Irsay. But anything else, Augustine, before we move on to the next caller and then get to group discussion? A couple other callers and then group discussion.
Yeah, that will be for now. I'll just wait for group discussion.
Thanks, Augustine. I always appreciate your comments. Let's get to Huyen next. I see you, Owen and Breyer. It's kind of a first appearance on the show. Kind of gets the come up first. That's kind of the way I do it around here. So no disrespect to you. I just saw CJ pop up too, but we'll get to Huyen first. CJ, Owen, Breyer. We see you all. We got plenty of time tonight. Huyen, anything Colts you want to talk about? Obviously, been Irsay heavy show. But floor's yours, man. Anything you got on your mind? Love to hear
Cole,
it as always.
big up, brother. How you been? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Yeah, a little down. Little down about the news. Colts obviously, and then my Hoosiers got the break speed off them last night from our rival Purdue. So not the best, but we're hoping positive thoughts ahead. That's for sure.
Sorry to hear that. No, yeah, no, about Irsay, Jim Irsay. I just wish the man well, man. You know what I mean? I really don't like to get into people's personal matters and stuff. I just wish him the best, get recovery. And if being an owner is too much on his health, then I would definitely recommend him to focus on that and do that because that's the most important thing. But nevertheless, just sending nothing thoughts and prayers to him and his family. The other things that came up, I was trying to come up earlier. What you call it? My link, I think, kept dropping me out. But I think we talk about free agency, not free agency, like players we need to re-sign. I think I really have two players in mind. Number one, Grover Stewart. Like we all know what difference that man makes when he's in the trenches for us. Him and Buckner, and he helps a lot of other people develop a lot of other people around him as well. So I know he's old. I think he's on the opposite the bad side of 30 for and when it comes to a pro player, but I just think he's so essential just to have him. If we can lock him down for even two more seasons, I think that will do us the world. And I don't think it's going to be too expensive. Uh, and then uh, and then also we need to bring back our slot cover guy Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore. I believe he's. I know the 2 seasons ago he kind of dropped down, but this season he stepped up. And I think our cornerback room is already thin as it is, so definitely bring him back. Michael Pittman is interesting. I would definitely like to have him back, but I don't know, but his comments kind of was like I understand why he said it. Of course, it makes sense. Why not shop around and at least get a price out there and then come back to the Colts and say, hey, this is what I'm getting offered. But at the same time, he needs to you know watch what he's trending on because this is a very heavy free agency wide receiver year. You know what I mean? Like you got Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Ridley, just the three off the top of my head. That's free agents that So I would definitely draft it. But I think Ballard is in love with Pittman, and I think he'll do whatever it takes to get him in or to commit long term. And so we'll see about that. So I think it's probably 90-10, 90% Pittman's here. Worst case scenario, I think he might even tag him if they can't reach a deal. To be honest, I think that's really I don't and nowadays tagging is seen as a very bad thing, but at the end of the day, I think it still makes 20 million. I think so. It's like it's not something crazy. So we'll see what happens with that. The rest of them realistically just depends on how the money comes out. A couple things though, I really would like us to go out there, like I said, get someone in free agency. I would prefer a weapon, more on the offensive side. My dream signing would be Mike Evans because I feel like what you call it, he would definitely, with his veteran presence, if you go look at his stats, he's always had regardless of who was throwing him the rock, he always had 1,000 yards receiving. And I think his veteran presence is going to be amazing for the young guys like Downs and Alec Pierce and also well, he won't be rookie anymore, but kind of a rookie Anthony Richardson quarterback. And I think maybe we can lock him down for 2 year so that when his contract is done or whatever is over, then it will be time to pay Richardson. And I think that's when I don't want to make it about Chris Ballard, but this is a make it or break it day. Like nobody wants to say it, but this is really Chris Ballard's year. Like I don't think even his most proactive people that's always with him, if he doesn't get a division title or doesn't make it to the playoffs this 2024-2025 season, I don't know how you bring the guy back at that point. Like, so I'm rooting for him to step up and go ahead because now you don't have the lingers of paying a franchise quarterback money. So you have a lot to work with, even though I know there's a lot of players that we got to pick back up. But at the same time, like he's gonna have to step up and make some moves. And in the draft, uh, realistically, it's gonna be depending on pass rusher and lock cornerback. But at the end of the day, I think we need to I think you guys mentioned it before. We need a game changer. Like we need someone we can count on when it's our backs against the wall. You know what I mean? And we need somebody to make a play. We had Gilly Locks last season where I think he won 2 or 3 games for us just by his stance he did. KC and I think I remember Denver on Thursday night. So maybe we get a lockdown corner when because that Houston game was demoralizing. The fact that we get these guys third and long and they're still converting is just like, come on, like, can we get something going? Because I think offensively we were putting up points. I don't think we're really struggling offensively, and like I said, free agents can help on that. But the draft, if it's a pass rusher or if it's a lockdown corner, that would be amazing to pick one of those guys up. And we're at a pretty decent spot. I don't expect Ballard to give up capital to move up. Let's be honest. Like, I don't think Cole, correct me wrong. In the first like 1 or 2 rounds, has he ever moved up? I can't remember. I
No,
know later rounds he has.
I think the last move up was for Nick Cross,
And I was third
if I
rounder,
remember right,
right?
in like a third. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. So everybody's saying move, move. I don't. That's not a. I think Ballard's probably moved back. In my opinion, because we know he
Oh,
loves that stuff. But like I said, hey Ballard, this, like I said, tell me this, Cole. If Colts do not make it to the playoffs, 2024-2025 season, is that the end of Chris Ballard, in your opinion?
So it should be in any ordinary circumstance. Obviously, the Irsay, news really puts a debacle on who's really going to make the decisions behind the scenes, what are their interests going to be going forward. But to me, you hit it right on the head as soon as you started talking. It's an all in year for Ballard. Like, no doubt about it. Like, I know you prefer Grover to Pitt. To me, no doubt about it. You pay Pittman tomorrow and you pay him what he wants. And then you pay Grover. And then, you adjust roster, get down the salary cap, and then you go big game hunting. Because next year, barring an Anthony Richardson injury, and even then, I think, God love the kid. Hopefully, long, successful career, but it could be it for Ballard. And he, had one last big swing, and that was Anthony Richardson. And this year, this offseason, he has to put everything he possibly can into the best roster around it, because you have your coach, you have your quarterback, and if both of them make it all season, well, coach is going to make it all season, but if health wise your star players or even play 75% of the reps, like that's enough to make a determination on Ballard. So he's got to go all in. I think he does. I can be an idiot. You can call me an idiot, but he's shown he hasn't shown that up to this point, but to me, I think in his presser, he indicated enough that he will talk about, going big game hunting, be interested in that more so than years past. But one question for you, Huyen. Why not as high on Pittman? I'm curious. To me, Pittman's was a no doubt about it. Sign him before JT. I'm curious to hear why you prefer Grover to Michael Pittman.
No, it wasn't really that. It's Michael Pittman. I don't know if it's true or not. I read somewhere him and his agent or him or the Colts, whatever, they all agreed that they will talk contracts after the season or something like that, and he wants to shop around. So realistically, that because usually if a player is committed to a team, I think he just goes and says, "Hey, what's the best offer you guys are gonna give me?" And if he likes it, he likes it. So I don't know, is there a doubt in his mind or he's out of tactics? I don't know about that, but definitely, like, Michael Pittman earned his money this year. Like I told you, I'm not really wasn't sold on him from the beginning of being a wide receiver one, but he really stepped up this season, and I got to give the guys flowers. But that was my case. My case is like, does Pittman like have some type of doubt? It's not a lot, but some type of doubt that does he really wanna be a Colt? Just if and, words is very hard because I didn't see the interview, but so I really don't know what kind of tone he really used to say those kind of words. Was it more of a, "Hey, I'm just, business is business," or, "Hey, like, let me see what I" what I mean? So that's realistically more about Pittman than of course, definitely if the numbers is good, everything's good, go for it. And like I said, Ballard is all about paying his guys. He's done that with JT, he's done that with all the O lines and yada yada everything. So I think he'll pay him at the end of the day. But then who knows? Maybe a team that is very desperate gives them something crazy that we can't afford. And at that point, does what I mean? Like, or we're not willing to pay because there's a lot of desperate teams out there. I'm probably looking at Carolina, to be honest, that's willing to splash some huge money on a wide receiver. So maybe it's a market. That's how the market it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a good point. Pitt also did say, in terms of being franchise tag, that it is a lot of money. So I think the thing Pitt has going for him that is completely different than the JT deal is it's the wide receiver market. Like you said, somebody's going to pay him, overpay him, and to me, there's no threat. If you don't get a deal done before, I'm not exactly sure the franchise tag deadline, but new league, new years, like in that March 11th, 13th range. If you're getting into March and you don't have a deal, you tag him and then you work out a deal before the season. And if he's got to play on the tag in the season, I doubt they wouldn't get a deal done, knowing Ballard's history, especially bang JT seemingly out of nowhere when we thought there was no chance that JT was going to get paid.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. When it comes to wide receivers, it's very tricky because I think Jacksonville offered Christian Kirk like something north of 30 mils around if I'm correct. So, and nobody ever thought that he would ever make that much money. But like I said, when it comes to wide receivers, they're a very hot commodity in this NFL. They're almost as hot as quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So, like you said, the tag is pretty a lot, 20 mil. I think this is what I was reading. The franchise tag is for wide receivers in the upcoming season. So that is a lot of money. So we'll see. I think a lot's gonna play. I think realistically, our free agency market is going to come down to how many people we retain and then how much money we want to play with. And then Ballard just needs to think about this. Listen, Ballard, this could be your last season. You saving money for X amount next year, yada yada, this, that, and the third. May not even matter. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? This draft pick that you're picking up right now, you may not even see uh, them able to develop and grow. So you need to go with what's the best ready, like day one starters that you can see in the draft, and try to. I know he kind of tingled with his usual formula because he used to go more of a, I think, football IQ, but this draft that he had recently, he went for more of a athletic. You know what I mean? Because if you look at majority of the players he drafted as more of a athletic type of guys. If you really look at Anthony Richardson to be a great example of that. But so yeah, Ballard, I'm expecting a lot from him this year, and this is his last dance, to be honest. If he does not make it, because everybody needs to understand. Listen, we've seen teams that have mediocre quarterbacks make it to the playoffs. We've seen teams with no quarterbacks make it to the playoffs. We've seen teams with a first year starting quarterback make it to the playoffs. I know all situations are different, but at the end of the day, you can't keep making excuses because Shane Steichen, once he lost Anthony Richardson, he did not make any excuses. JT situation, he didn't make excuses. He still went out there, performed, got us 9 wins where it crushed the expectation of so many people, including myself. So that's the type of mentality I want from my GM. If your quarterback goes down, like he did, like it happened to Cleveland Browns, does your team good enough to still be able to be competitive and make it to the playoffs? That's how you can, rectify. A lot of these teams winning big and they're still good. Like you saw what happened to Detroit Lions. They shipped their Hall of Fame quarterback away. A few years later, they're back at it. Same thing if you want to look at Cleveland. I know people make fun of them for Deshaun Watson and giving up all that picks and yada yada. But hey, they are able to have a great team right now. As much as I know they got knocked out and everything like that, but at the end of the day, they still, for the few 2 seasons now, they've been having a very good team. So at the end of the day, like, go ahead, take the shots because you're always gonna miss the shot you never take. And I would rather Ballard go out there and sign a major free agent, and the free agent flops. At least I could be, or we can look and say, okay, he gave it a shot. But if every year you just sit and have your hands crossed and not doing anything and we're not progressing anywhere, then at that point it's like, what can we do? You know? But I'm starting to ravel around, but I think that's about it. If you have anything for me, Cole.
No, really appreciate it, Huyen. Yeah, I think you're spot on. Just we got to go for the big swings, raw athletic score, throw it out the window to a point. Like it's all about who can come in and contribute. Like make life on Anthony Richardson as easy as possible and go from there. So thank you, Huyen. I'm sure you'll be back in group discussion as always. Always appreciate you. Let's get to CJ Colts fan. I see you, Ray Love and Owen. Thanks for being patient. CJ Colts fan, thanks for coming back on the show. Go check him out at the Horseshoe Mob podcast. That is CJ Colts fan. What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm good, Cole. How's it going today?
Oh, not too bad. Just digesting the sports news and the Hoosiers getting the brakes beat off them last night. So
Yes.
tough day, but we're getting through it.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it all happens in droves, but you know what? I know that Huyen spoke about it a little bit, and I think it's the Pittman situation. I think Pittman is being very smart. I think we talked about this before, or just kind of had it in passing discussion, but you know, like I said, Pittman's dad was an NFL player. And I think he kind of speaks to that business side of things where he's going to tell him, just be like, look, just go where you could potentially get the most money. It's okay to be loyal, but it's also good to make sure that you're like secure. And, I think Pittman could possibly be wide receiver one on other teams, but I think he's really just going to go out there, see what's out there, and, he's really going to kind of force Ballard's hand. Now, I don't see him getting that Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill type money, but I mean, I think you're going to go and you're going to have to pay him because we have a couple games this year where we saw just how important he is to this offense. But I think that more so than anything else, like beyond free agency, I think this is this is a make or break year for Ballard. And the reason why I say that is because Ballard can't cheap his way through this year. You already went 9-8, and knowing that you went 9-8 with Gardner Minshew under center, you have to be able to go into this next year to be able to do better than you did the year before. I think the only reason why he even remotely did as well as he did this year, or was able to last this year, was because of the fact that even despite having Gardner Minshew under center, you still won 5 more games than you did the year before. But now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to be better than 9-8, because 10-7 won division this year. It was 10-7 this year. It was 9-8. So I mean, you got to aim. You got to aim for 11 next year, and you're not going to be able to aim for 11 wins next year if you're cheaping it through free agency. Trading back in the draft, letting talent just go where it is, and then just saying you're comfortable with your guys, because you've been very comfortable with your guys and it hasn't worked out. And you know that you have this rookie contract at QB, so you're not paying any major money to a quarterback this year, which means that, like, even going into this free agency, you're looking at somewhere around $70 million to work with. Yes, you have to re-sign free agents, but at the same time, you could possibly go ahead and re-sign, I'm going to say, maybe 2/3 of free agency, because let's be honest, not everybody should come back. I mean, just because we like them doesn't mean that they should stick around. I mean, I think you probably keep Kenny around, possibly look at Grover Stewart, do what you can to make sure that you keep Michael Pittman Jr. I think Blackman, you gotta consider, it's just like, yes, he was great down the stretch. Yes, he put up pretty decent numbers in terms of coverage, PFF grades, however you want to look at it. But at the same time, his biggest weakness is his availability. So there's a lot of things to consider. But once again, we can't go into this offseason thinking that we can pay guys, you know, and I'm not this isn't a knock on Samson Ibukum, because I think Samson Ibukum, over excelled, especially for somebody who was seen as like a lower free agency pickup. But I mean, you can't afford to let big names go. And I mean, honestly, it's just like you could very easily shore up, if we were looking at cornerback, wide receiver, edge rusher, you can possibly just get one guy out of free agency and then draft the other two, and then you're possibly set. Now the thing is, you're going to now you're going to have to put in some more work. You're going to have to do those things, but the thing is, you can't disregard free agency. And I don't know if they'll even get there, but I mean, guys like Brian Burns, guys like Jeremy Chin, possibly are going to be in free agency. So I mean, are you really going to just go ahead and just say, yeah, we have a number and then that's it? Because I don't think that you do that, especially when we know that we're in need of an edge rusher. And and like I said, just strictly an example, if Brian Burns is out there, you have the money to sign him. Why not just go ahead and just make sure that you just sweeten up the deal and make sure that you get him, because you know that his numbers indicate that he could be that missing piece to a defensive line that could absolutely dominate. We can't keep on trying to do this whole, okay, well, we're gonna go and get an undrafted free agent, and he was a seventh round pick in the 2020 draft. It's like, no, we like that depth stuff. I don't want to hear about depth signings this year. I don't want to hear about depth signings. Like, we desperately need to make sure that we have these positions addressed, because we're not that far off. If you're 9-8, knowing that you still need 2 to 3 pieces, maybe, why not just get them all and then just say, and then not get through the whole season trying to say we're comfortable with who we got, because we're not. Clearly we're not.
Yeah, good points on free agency. Yeah, I'm down to go big game hunting, whatever we see fit. I'd personally rather blow the doors off for a corner. I think it was Brock. I at least credited him twice now, so even if he didn't say it, he still gets the credit. But in last week's space of his philosophy of signing what you absolutely need. We have a good enough defensive line. Maybe add a piece through the draft, but we need corner. And to me, if we're gonna spend big in free agency, I'd prefer it to be corner than DN. But yeah, like you said, if Burns is the guy, Burns is the guy. Like, if hey, we can take our pass rush from good, great to elite. Like, no doubt about it. We're getting home. Only other thing I think from what you were discussing, Michael Pittman's dad is actually not doing him favors. He's commenting on Colts Instagrams to people saying, "Oh, Pitt'll be back. Pitt'll be back." So, actually, in kind of a weird way, I think Pittman, playing a little coy, like, "Well, we'll see what the deal is." Is probably his agent being like, "Hey, man, your dad and you have been a little too too nice to the Colts and fans that you're going to come back. Like maybe not JT it all the way, but it worked for JT. So let's ugg it up a little bit, maybe to not that extent.
Yeah, yeah. You know
But I
what?
get what you're saying. He's been there before.
Yeah.
Go get your money, kid. Like I hope to God it's from us. It needs to be from us. But go get your money, kid.
No, absolutely. And like I said, I think Michael Pittman Jr., especially seeing what he did in this Shane Steichen offense, I think that there's honestly opportunity to do better. Like I said, AR sounded like in his presser that he did last week that, like I said, this was like a big learning year, and he seemed like he was really antsy to get back out there, but he knows that there's some things that he actually absolutely have to correct in order to make sure that he doesn't run into the same issues that he ran into with putting himself in the position to be hurt again. And like I said, I think if we're looking at cornerback, I think honestly at cornerback, I would love for us to potentially, if he hits free agency, go after Jalen Johnson, because Jalen Johnson from Chicago is like, he's a dog, and I think he's somebody where if you put him opposite, Juju, and then you put Kenny where he naturally is fit, where you put him in that nickel slot spot or nickel slot spacing, he's going like that. Secondary is going to be able to do great things as long as Gus Bradley unleashes them and doesn't put them in that goofy ass three or cover three that he likes to do all the damn time. But like I said, Chris Ballard, he sounded like he knows this year he can't afford to cheap his way through the offseason and leading up to the draft, because he needs to get this fixed ASAP. And I mean, this team has a lot of potential, but if this team doesn't excel and we don't get the pieces we need, it's all going to be on him. And like I said, 9-8, 9-8 is where we achieved this year. So we can't, like, under 500 or even under 9 wins next year. Would be a failing year, and that would be a complete and utter failure. He's had failures, but the thing is, this is different because now he drafted his guy. He drafted a quarterback, and by his words, once you draft a quarterback, the clock is ticking, and he knows that. He's aware of that. So if he manages to get through this free agency and draft, doing the same thing that he's done the last 6 free agency and drafts, it's going to be pitchforks and tiki torches at his residence in Indiana. So, I mean, he's going to have to get his shit together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, CJ. Colts fan, please stick around for group discussion. Great insight there. And again, he is at the Horseshoe Mob podcast. Give him a follow if you don't already. We got Ray Love, Max, and Owen. I see you. We'll get to Ray Love and then Owen and then Max. Everybody gets a one-on-one though, as always on every not halftime, but every post game and breaking news event Wednesday show. Ray Love, off the top, not sure when you're able to hop in here, but obviously the Jim Irsay news. Prayers up to Boss Man, and we're just kind of kicking around free agency, roster construction. Very little about potential coaching staff moves because it doesn't appear to be any. But floor's yours, Ray Love. Anything Colts you want to talk about?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Can you hear me out there?
Hey, Ray Love.
How do I sound?
Better. You sound really good. You on new mic?
No, no, same headphones. I've been playing around with the whatever the heck it's called, with the voice isolation and
Oh, there you
that
go.
thing. Hold on, let me change it back. All right, what about now? How I sound?
It's like when you're at the eye doctor and they kind of look the same. First one maybe a little better.
All right, let's change it. All right, what about now?
There you go. Yeah,
Uh,
that one's better.
all righty.
Sultry tones of Ray Love.
So let me jump into the biggest news item of them all, which is Mr. Jim Irsay. Um, People need to stay a little classy. Let me say that. Everybody fights things, man. Everybody has vices. Everybody has something that they're dealing with, but that doesn't mean you go out and make fun of them and say these demeaning things to them. Everybody faces things, man. So we're not better than another person who's going through something else. So let's be kind. Um, I've been hearing Irsay needs to sell the team, give it over to his daughters. My thing is this: why? Um, he's got no impact on the football side of things. He's dealing with personal issues, of course, but that's not affecting the business. Everybody's going to have those personal issues in life. That doesn't mean you go out and quit your job and sell your business just because you're dealing with something personal that's not affecting your business. Yeah, everything might be a headline, but that doesn't affect the business. Um, let me say this. I know we probably don't want to touch on it, but I'm going to touch on it too.
No, go
Um,
off. I definitely had my bit early on in the show.
whoever that jackass is, Titan Don or whatever the hell his name is, whoever the hell he wants to be or pretends to be, or whoever the hell the guy is, um, uncalled for. Come on now, we're gonna make fun of a guy having a alleged overdose and saying it's due to us losing the Texans game. That's classless, man. Like I'm gonna say it. Grow up, man. Come on now. That's childish behavior. That's six. That's what you do in sixth grade. Come on, you're supposed to be a grown man. Um, and let me touch on this too. Um, and I don't want to be personal, so I'm not gonna bring up anybody's name or anything. Which, well, I guess I already did. But I seen some guy going back and forth with the guy Titan Don, and then I'm not gonna say his name, but this guy goes back on his page and pulls up a picture of this guy Titan Don's daughter and wife, and I guess one of them had a some type of tumor issue and got removed, and you want to make fun of that? Come on, man, that's not cool at all. I know we're passionate, but come on, man, we can't make things personal and things like that. And when you see buffoonery, look the other way and ignore it, because if you stoop down to someone's level, that makes you just as big of an asshole as them. So let's grow up. We're all grown men here. Um, let's be respectful to things and people. So that's all I got to say about that. Irsay, I'm not
No,
gonna
well said. Well said.
I'm not going to say he's fine, but he's not in a position where he just got to sell the team and give it over to his daughters and things like that. Um, so well wishes to Mr. Irsay. Great man. He does a lot for this community and for the people around the city of Indiana. Well, state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis as well. Um, he's a great man. I'll say that. And I don't want to be the water boy for him, but you know, I hate this has to happen to somebody with such a kind heart and does things for people. But we got to realize this too, guys. When you have an addiction and you have things that are personally affecting you, don't just make fun of somebody for it, man. Come on now, like that's not cool in the least bit. But let's get to the football aspect of
Yeah,
things.
one thing on that before
Yeah.
is I do hold out a lot of hope and a lot of grace for at least the Colts fans I follow. It's not similar because this is really life and death now, but similar to the Tyler Goodson type thing where there's good people on Colts Twitter who may have critiques of how he ran the route, what he did, but they're not demonizing the human being, and those are the people you want to look to follow and engage, with their content on. So I think it is well said, Ray Love, and believe me, I had plenty of replies to my well wishes, and I decided to look the other way because now's not the time to argue about that kind of thing. It's not about picking a player or even winning or losing a game. There's so much more. So well said, Ray Love.
Yeah, and let me add one last thing to that. When you go in and you indulge in clown behavior, you become part of the circus. Don't be a part of the circus now. Um, but let me get to the football side of it. Um, we want to do all this Chris Ballard talk, and Ballard needs to do this and that, and oh my gosh, it is so unfathomable that people just don't see the vision. That's all I'm saying. People don't see the vision. So let's break something down, guys. Now I'm not the biggest cap guy or the biggest numbers guy, but I do know this. when you're paying the quarterback a big portion of your salary cap, that restricts your moves. So you got to go back. Phillip Rivers, you were paying him 20 plus million. Carson Wentz, 20 plus million. Matt Ryan, 20 plus million. But it's just funny to me that everyone want to say Ballard doesn't spend money, but the second Ballard drafts a rookie quarterback, he goes out and makes some big money purchases. Sampson, he wasn't no cheap backdoor bargain bin Ballard as pick up as people want to say. That wasn't that. I believe he got what, almost close to 30 mil um over 3 years. Now I know you guys want to make fun of when it happened, but he signed a kicker to the highest paid contract. I'm just saying, guys, those are big money spins right there. And he has a rookie quarterback. So this is my thing. Why do we not have the mindset of, okay, he still has that rookie quarterback, why wouldn't he go out and spend money like he just did this past offseason? I'm just saying, guys, come on now. We can't always look back at the past. We have to look back at the most recent thing that we have to go off of. And the most recent thing is Ballard's been spending that money. So cut me with the bull crap on Chris Ballard's cheat and all this BS. Because when he has it and he's able to spend it and be a little be a little expensive with his spendings, he goes and does it. As we just seen this past off season. So let's pump the brakes on saying it's bargain bin, you gotta spend. He's done it. So cut him a break on that. Like everybody said, it's this time to go and be aggressive. It's that time. And I have full belief that he will do that. So guys, I know free agency isn't for another 2 months, but sit back, be patient, and have faith. Chris Ballard's done an exceptional job building out this roster. Now, I know you guys maybe say, oh, he hasn't went and got the big names, but he's filled out this roster multiple years to put this team in position to be right there to win the division. Let's go back to what was it, 2018 with Luck, right there to win the division. 2020 with Rivers, right there to win a division. Right there with Wentz, right there to win a division. And just this past year, right again, right there to win the division. Now, what it came down to was the play on the field. The players didn't show up. So we got to hold the players accountable for not getting the job done. Now, if Chris Ballard consistently goes 5-10 and on under 500 records, then we can blame him. But if the product on the field and the players aren't getting it done in a specific game or not showing up 1 week and putting them behind the 8 ball to come on top of the division, I don't put that on Ballard. That shouldn't be on Ballard's plate. That should be on the players and on the field product of them not getting it done. So we need to take a holistic approach in looking at that. Just because a player doesn't show up or Tyler Goodson drops a pass, how the hell are we putting that on Ballard? Come on now. Somebody answer me that. How the hell are we putting that on Ballard? Cole, can you answer me that? How are we going to put that on Ballard? And he's put the team together, put him right there in a position to be right there at the cusp of the division.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
So why are we saying Ballard needs to go or Ballard needs to have a limited timeline when he's put the team in position? And that was a question for you, Cole.
Yeah, really appreciate it, Ray Love. I think the biggest thing with Ballard, and I'm pro Ballard. The lowest I was on him was after the Wentz year, where I thought he had, well, he did have a say. His people kind of float that he kind of got overruled by Irsay and Reich for the Wentz acquisition. The Matt Ryan acquisition was kind of by need. He didn't really have a plan. It was just acquire Carson Wentz, get rid of Carson Wentz. So, and obviously the Luck saga, he had bad luck, pun intended. Sure, why not with that whole thing? But in terms of being able to find guys who can contribute in a pinch, he is pretty good at doing that. And again, aside from the disaster that was the 2022 season, he's been, like you said, right there. And teams he was supposed to do, good if not great on the field. Like he hasn't been able to get over the hump, which is the most infuriating part. But that's why I'm with you. Like I legit think he is going all in next year. We could look like idiots. We don't know what all in means. He could just use the money to, shore up whatever players don't need contracts this year. But to me, this year is unlike any other because you have a young quarterback on a rookie deal. You know who your head coach is going to be for at least Ballard's tenure, probably beyond Ballard if it doesn't work out next year. So I'm with you, and Ballard. I'm pro Ballard mostly. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. Like I get everybody's qualms with him, but I think in terms of what the alternate could be, if you look around at other teams, like I'd take our situation. Like we win games. Yes, we don't get to the playoffs. Like we need to fucking do that. And next year, I really believe we will. To use the F word as Chris Ballard was. That was the most animated in the press conference I saw him. He'll, you know, I think he'll spend more this year. I really do. Last
And,
quick comment, Ray Love, and then
and
this is a great topic for group discussion. People are chomping at the bit to talk about this
and
one.
and let me ask this one other question too,
Sure.
Cole. This is my point of view. The job of a GM is to construct the team to put them in position for success. Um, and if you're one game in the fourth quarter, less than 2 minutes of winning your division, we don't constitute that as a successful season for a GM. I'm just saying, I know it's fair to be critical. It is fair to be critical, and we can say, oh, if Chris Ballard would have went out and got this premier edge rusher, then the season would have been different and things would have been different. But if he built this team out for the 2023 year to have them in position to win the division, and it came down to a 4th-and-1 under 2 minutes in the fourth quarter of the last game of the season to make it to the playoffs and win the division, how the hell are we going to put that on the GM? I'm just saying, come on, guys. We like to place blame, and we like to say, oh, it's Ballard. Ballard should have got a rusher. He should have got a receiver. But even if he didn't get those things and he had that team in position to get where he wanted to go, why are we still blaming him? It's mind blowing. I don't get it. Yeah, now like I said, I know guys want to get their favorite players and get the sexy names and get the AJ Browns and Brian Burns and whoever you want to get on this team to see how they look in that blue, which if you choose to be in that blue, you're going to look good anyway. Hell, I'll look sexy in that blue. And you know what? I'm wearing my scarf and my coat set that I got from this season anyway right now, and I look pretty damn good if I could say so myself. I wish I can take a picture of myself and show you guys and show you what sexy really looks like. But
Hey, you can put it in the jumbotron up here on the spaces. Everybody
well,
love to see it.
well, I don't want to get anybody moist in the space. I don't want to get anybody moist, and I don't want to do that.
Appreciate it. Ray Love, some great topics for group discussion, which we'll get into after these few callers. Appreciate it, Ray Love. We'll go to the next two, and then get there. Owen has been waiting patiently for a while, and I see you, Max. Oh, and Colts for Life. We'll get you Colts for Life in here as well. Long time listener. Let's go to Owen on here. Hey,
Hello.
Owen. Thanks for being patient, man.
Hello, 1 second.
Sure, no worries. Owen has been coming on more recently. Good insight. Coltsman 4L. Assume the L means life. Proud son of Anthony Richardson. Cool.
All right, I'm back.
Cool profile picture, banner picture. What is up, Owen? Anything Colts, obviously. Everybody knows the biggest news story. We're kind of talking free agents. I'm going to be doing that probably the next several weeks. So get your takes off, and we can adjust them accordingly. But always appreciate your thoughts, Owen. Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the right space to say it, but how do you feel about the Pacers trade?
Oh, good. Like I'm nowhere near the fan of the Pacers as I am the Colts. But it sounds good that we didn't give up like Matherin or Walker, three firsts and what Brown, who we signed for like 2 years and a buttload of money. We just got to sign Siakam, and I think we will. Like you don't trade that much to not pretty much max or super max a guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think as long as he stays, it's good. But all indications are that he's staying.
Yeah, I was with Ray Love. I think Chris Ballard's been put in a bad position because we had our franchise quarterback. He retired. I mean, Jacoby Brissett stepped in. We went to the playoffs with Phillip, and then nobody in Indiana thought Carson Wentz or Matt Ryan was a bad idea until the season happened. So I don't. I think he was just put in a really bad position. Like I get like trading back and not paying big money, but look what it's brought us to. That he says he's going to be aggressive this year. Young quarterback, running backs on a contract. So I think he's handled it probably as best as he could.
Yeah. Yeah. Coming into this year, like this year was different. Obviously, I think Matt Ryan. I think last year was the worst GM job and is most likely to get fired. Like I was calling for Harbaugh in week two, and to me, Harbaugh deserved probably will get. We'll see what him and Ed Dodds, Colts assistant GM, are rumored to be paired to go to either Vegas with the Raiders or the Chargers. But I think I think it would have been a mistake to let him go, even after the poor year that was last year, because although he was a key member in the room, he was essentially told go get Carson Wentz and then get rid of Carson Wentz. And then 2022 was, well, what roulette quarterback are we going to play and have fall in our lap? And it just so happened to be the ancient noodle arm, Matt Ryan. Nothing against him, good enough guy, but that wasn't it. That was a poor decision by Ballard. Even not exploring other options. Like I don't get to why Irsay heard Reich more. In the room seemingly when it came to quarterbacks because there was reports too how into Matt Stafford we were. That would have been a great one. How into Tom Brady even. Like it may be disgusting to a lot of fans and I may be in the minority, but that would have turned out absolutely spectacular for the Colts if we were able to get Tom Brady. That could be sacrilegious, but to me Ballard has missed on the big swings, and he's finally taken one with Richardson, and he's made it this far. So I don't, he gets credit for this past year. Steichen gets a little more, in my opinion, maybe significantly more, especially with Richardson going down. But Ballard gets one more year to hit home runs, and if he's not in the playoffs next year, then it's going to be a big to do if he's going to make it or not. But he did hire Steichen. He sought out and hired Steichen. He was the guy to bring the probably second or third running and coach of the year this year as a rookie head coach to the Colts.
Yeah. I only have one more thing to say. The other thing I'll just leave in group discussion because I want to ask Undisputed it.
Sure.
Um, what? How much control do you think Shane has in the draft and the free agency when he talks to Chris?
A lot more now. A lot more now.
Like, if he were to say, "I want to trade for AJ Brown," do you think Chris would like legitimately try to do it, or would he just say, "Oh, we tried a second round pick; it's not going to work"?
I don't know if he has that pull. I think he has enough pull to be like, hey, Chris, like, in this instance, AJ, I think AJ Brown can take us like to the net. Like, I really believe that. Like, I think Ballard could heavily considered doing it. I don't think he would, and I think he'd kind of give an excuse to do it. Now the draft is completely different. Like I think if it's an offensive player, Steichen's going to be presented with Ballard. Like between these three guys, who do you like the most? Like he'll be in the room when they're doing the rankings, especially in the first 2-3 rounds, and then um, after that, if he wants a quarterback to take a flyer on a guy late, or like look at even Steichen suspending Tony Brown and Isaiah McKenzie, like that in my mind was a Shane Steichen decision. Cutting Shaq Leonard, like yeah, it may have been, would Ballard have done that on his own, especially under a Frank Reich? I don't think so. I think Steichen already has that roster construction type pull, but not in terms of giving up assets. I wouldn't think, but as it should be, there should be always be checks and balances for that kind of thing.
So I actually get two more things.
Sure.
If I know we have Jelani, and I know we have Mo and Kylan, a ton of tight ends. But if you think Brock falls to like 13, do you think Shane's going to be like, hey, let's try to trade up and get Brock Bowers?
Yeah, draft's a little too far away for me to really process, but I've seen, the Bowers stuff. I don't want to go that direction personally, unless it really falls in our lap. But even at 15, like, yeah, he'll probably go top 10. Maybe I'm too old school, analytics, idiot football, but give me, give me a position of need other than tight end. And yeah, he's different, but personally, it's not the route I want to go. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't think they'd trade up for him. I think if they're trading up, they'd go defensive end, corner, the best available corner. I think it's Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's right in our range anyway. So I don't think we'd trade up to go corner. I think we'd trade up either for a premier wide receiver or an edge.
Yeah, I guess I'll just ask Undisputed now, and he can answer in group because I know he loves the DNs. If we're at 15 and there's two DNs on the board, would you take Jared Verse or the guy from UCLA?
I'll answer for him. He'd take Jared Verse. I guarantee it. But we'll get to him in group discussion. Appreciate it. Oh, and we'll get to group discussion here soon. Thank you very much, everybody, for being patient on here. We got Colts for Life, Max, and then Brock. We'll kick off with Brock at Undisputed, no matter, or Brock with group discussion, no matter what. Here after Colts for Life and Max. Colts for Life, my man. Hopefully work went well. Glad to have you back in the fold, joining these. Anything, floor is yours. Obviously the big news today, but roster construction too is what Twitter Spaces and sports media were made for. So anything your heart desires, Colts for Life. Always appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you, Colt. Prayers out to Mr. Irsay. Hopefully, everything's all good. And we get Boss Man back here in the next couple weeks. I won't touch on it too much. That's something I think we all know. It's everybody goes through shit. Let him do his thing. So my biggest thing for you. So we're talking about free agents. This is just hypothetical, right? But if we bring back the core four out of Pitt, Grove, Blackman, and Moore, just those four, and we spend, so let's say Pitt's gonna get about 23 million, right? Grove's getting like 10, Blackman's getting 7 or 8, Moore's getting 10. So you spend 50 million, so you got about $20 million left. What are you addressing first?
Corner, for sure. I'd go the Bears guy again. I'm not the most well versed in other teams' players right now. Probably get more into that in a few weeks, but corner, Sneed, Jalen, any of those guys, like as much as it takes. Like I'm fine using pretty much the whole budget on corner and just draft the rest of our needs.
So then you're taking DN first round, or you're going to receiver if you take it, or are you taking corner still?
If I'm signing corner with pretty much all the money we have, getting the best corner we could possibly get, we're not going to get, a top end wide receiver. I would almost, all chips are in to me means you're trading up into the top 8 to get a receiver. If you're staying at 15, get an end unless the receiver you didn't think would fall. But
Yeah.
obviously my absolute dream is Marvin Harrison Jr., but I'm an idiot. I don't even want to think about it just because it's not going to happen. But boy, if he's in the 5, 6 somehow, they go quarterback heavy. Somebody wants an end that they weren't thinking. Somebody takes like Joe Alt at tackle. Then he slips to 6. You gotta go all in to go get a guy like that.
Well, I agree. I mean, I won't lie to you. If he goes past 4, I'm pretty sure someone's trading out.
Yeah,
Whoever.
and it better be us.
He said it better be us. But no, I mean,
Yeah,
I wish I could say Ballard's going to trade up. I think he's more likely to stick where he's at. Hopefully, I mean, I want him to. I want him to realize that, like you said, this is. I think in the room they have to realize, damn, like we probably would have beat that Browns team. We would have won the division. Like next year has to be better. So you have to take the best from your talent. It's not about trading back and getting a couple of complimentary pieces this year. I think you got to put your nuts on the table, take a guy you believe in, and hope that he can make. I mean, I know undisputed. I saw good news for you. I saw Keon Coleman on a mock draft to Indy, but you got to get a guy that's going to come out here. Hopefully, like a guy like Jared Verse or someone that's going to come in here every down. That's important to make an impact, get in that backfield, put Stroud on the ground. Because I mean, I kept talking shit because I thought our D line was going to make an impact, and they did a little bit, but not near enough. So I mean, I agree. I think cornerback probably in free agency get a vet because I think the young guys they held their own. Juju, as long as those soft tissue injuries aren't an issue, he'll be a good number 1 in a couple of years or number 2 at worst. Flowers is coming back. You got I know a lot of people aren't big on Darnell Baker, but he grew on as the season went on. I feel like I don't think he got torched again like that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but so I think you go DN first round because I mean, like I think me and just Undisputed talked about this before, and it's a lot of those guys. I mean, it's such a heavy draft that you have a chance to get a Max Crosby at 15. But that being said, it's not guaranteed. But I think that you have to take a swing in it. Yeah, you have to swing on that because we haven't done that in the last couple of years. We kept doing second round. Pay was a first. That was a little bit. It was a hit or miss DN class. I felt like so. But yeah, that's it, man.
yeah. Appreciate it, Colts for life. And again, the harsh reality of ripping off the band-aid. You mentioned, this Colts team probably does think like looking at sitting on their couch like, hey, we were right there with Houston. They beat the brakes off the Browns. And what could have been, especially with a home playoff game. But yeah, moving forward, it is all about being able to contain. Now you're competing with Houston. Like Houston is the reigning AFC South champs and appears to be the biggest threat now. Not really worried about the Titans going forward. Jacksonville, we never beat them, so that's the most worrisome part. But they always seem to collapse down the stretch. So hopefully we can knock them off a few times next year. But yeah, it's all about building roster to compete with your division first, and then go from there. But thanks, Colts for life. We'll hope to see you in the group discussion. Let's get to Max, and then Brock, you will kick off group discussion. So we'll go to Max here, and then everybody go ahead who wants to be in group discussion, request, and we'll have Brock kick us off with that. Max, how's it going? Thanks for coming back on the show. Always appreciate your comments on here. Obviously, the big news is Irsay, but we're talking roster construction. Will be for the foreseeable future, bouncing ideas off each other. What are yours? Thanks for coming back
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I appreciate let me speak. I won't touch too big on Ursay, but as somebody who has struggled with like in the past, like past substance abuse issues, it does get a little annoying seeing people talk their shit, but that won't ever go away. There's always going to be a stigma behind it, and people are always going to be assholes, so that you just can't be too caught up in that. But with like the whole free agency and like draft and like roster construction and stuff that people have talked about tonight, I'm kind of with you, Cole, on like if there's gonna be like a big bag handed out to somebody like position wise, I would like to see the corner get addressed. I'm with people with the whole like, oh, we haven't had a game changing pass rusher since like the duo of like Freeney and Mathis and all that shit. But I'm kind of with you, like, yeah, we haven't, but like when you have like a lot of like, I mean, basically rotational fucking pieces combining for the amount of sacks that they're like we're like I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head if it was a franchise record or not, or I think it was like an indie era record or some shit with the sacks. So it's like a bunch of like, honestly, if you really think about it, kind of fucking nobodies. So that's not really. I mean, Grove and Buck aren't nobodies, but like we have like we don't really have shit for like elite edge rushers. But pick 15 is kind of cool. But I mean, like what it's everybody's kind of touched on it. I don't feel like Ballard's going to trade up. I really don't. I'm not a Ballard hater. My only big thing with him is like, yeah, like a lot of people said like, oh, well, we're right there. We've been right there to win the division. We've been right there, but we fucking haven't won the division. Like we haven't. Like we're like, and like the AFC South now is getting a little bit better and more competitive, but like there's only one division in football that I feel like's worse, at least recently, than like the AFC South. And that's whatever, I can't remember what division it is, but it's the NFC division with the Buccaneers and all that shit. Where like you're a shoe into the playoffs, so you can win 8 fucking games. But I would like to see a receiver signing, whether it's in free agency or in the draft. I really would. I would agree that Pittman on our team is wide receiver 1 by a fucking country mile, but I don't know if he's really wide receiver 1. But I can totally see somebody pulling like what the Jags did with Christian Kirk and just like wholly overpaying the shit out of Pittman. And like I would prefer him to stay. I think he's like the definition of what it means to be like a Colt for real. He's one of my favorite players. But I mean, he'd be stupid not to do his due diligence and try to get like a huge bag. I'm just kind of curious to see how the draft plays out. Because, I mean, Ballard's been pretty good at drafting. Like, our depth pieces are so good, I think. Like, when people get hurt, like, it was a lot of, like, next man up this year. And, like, we won 9 games with, like, fucking rookies and fill-ins and this, and that. So I really feel like if he goes all in, like, I feel like the majority feels like, or, I mean, it's just, it would be stupid for him not to. You're not paying a quarterback 20-something million. Like, that's been discussed. You have so much more money to throw around. And I honestly feel like I mean, like it's been talked about, like when we went to get Wentz, oh, they're a quarterback away. We really fucking weren't. I feel like right now we're the closest as we've been to like being legit competitive, being a legit AFC contender. Like there's a few pieces that we really need, that need to be addressed. But if those get addressed the way that they should and the way that we're all kind of counting on them to be addressed, I really feel like we're gonna be scary. And not just in the AFC, but in the NFL as a whole. Like if Richardson reaches his peak, you get the AR JT combo, you get Pittman paired up with whoever the fuck else if we decide to go receiver. Like that offense is gonna be just insane. So like I feel like we should go more, I guess, defense heavy. If I could be like the armchair GM that I'm being right now. Just load up on the big holes in the defense, and like we were scoring. I mean, Richardson was only healthy for what, like 4 fucking games, and we had that streak of like the only team in the NFL scoring 20 plus, and like we really don't have anybody. Like I'd say the only elite player that we have on like offense outside of like on the line, like I'd argue that Braden Smith when healthy is elite. I'd argue that Quentin Nelson is. I mean, you'd be stupid not to that Quentin Nelson's elite. But like out like skill position wise, like it's Jonathan Taylor, and I mean when Richardson gets there, I have confidence that he will be elite. But it's literally just Jonathan Taylor. So if we can add a couple pieces, a couple like elite like game changing pieces on both sides of the ball, I feel like we're gonna be a force to be reckoned with. Like we're right there with fucking Minshew, man. Like I'm gonna be sick to my fucking stomach about the way that this season ended until Richardson laces up week 1 for real. Like so many hypotheticals and what ifs and shit. Like we're so close.
Yeah, very well said, and I think you're right. Like this team going into next year should be on paper the best team that Ballard has had. Obviously, luck brings it to a whole different level, and
Yeah.
the Rivers year was very good, but the roster as a whole, on paper, should be
Right.
Ballard's best
I totally
next
agree.
year. If he signs a corner, if he drafts like good pieces, and Richardson stays healthy,
The sky's the limit for real. The
yeah,
sky's the limit.
sky's the limit for sure. Max, I'll leave you in here. We're gonna have Brock kick off the group discussion, so feel free to chime in after Brock. Max, thanks for your comments.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Let's go to Brock and let some people in after Brock. We'll keep Max in there. So go ahead and hit that request button for group discussion. Brock will give some one-on-one thoughts, and then we will let him lead us off into group. Brock, thanks for coming back. I hope I don't misattribute you when I say you're the one who gave me the idea, not gave me the idea, but presented the best option being sign a free agency corner. Is that correct? Let's see. Brock, do we have you? Ooh. Ooh, Brock. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's see. Brock, do we have you now?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, do I misattribute you when I say you're the one who initially was like, we should just not blow the bank out, but free agency corner is kind of our number one need before we get into any other things to address like the D line.
Yeah, that's kind of was my take. I mean, it's just sort of the general principle that when you have one need that is honestly completely changed games for you last year, that is what you use free agency for. You don't do Jacksonville Jaguars style and sign half your team through free agency like they've done, but you add a couple impact players. And I think last year corner was the big position where, I mean, Tony Jones or whatever his name is, Brown, basically cost us a game. Like we saw multiple times the corner play cost us a game. So I'm of the opinion you spend a bunch of money, you make sure you're getting an upgrade from week one at that position, and then in the draft you go some other direction. But if someone thinks edge or receiver or something's a bigger need, then that's fine. Just be aggressive in some way, and I'll be happy. But yeah. But if we're opening up group discussion, I guess I got two more points then. Number one, I don't want to normally sound like I'm calling out people, but I just got to say, someone said that we all, a lot of people in Indiana or everyone in Indiana loved the Carson Wentz move. I don't think everyone in Indiana loved it because I live in Indiana and I hated that move. The second that we made that crap, I was like, what the hell are we doing here? This guy couldn't succeed with Doug freaking Peterson, who's a phenomenal coach and a top 5 O-line. This was a horrible move. I hated it from day one. I think other people agree with that. And then the second one was, I'm tired of when people defend Ballard, all I hear is we were right there. Well, I'm tired of being right there. I want to actually do something. Because you can only be right there so many times before we wonder, well, why haven't we ever taken that next step? That's all I got to say then with group. And then we can, whoever wants to chime in, you do you.
Yeah, fair enough. Same with the quarterback sentiment. Although mine was Matt Ryan, I was way too confident on Carson Wentz. I'm an idiot. But Matt Ryan, I had very little faith in. Yeah, again, I think to Ballard, and these always dwindle down to a general manager discussion. And fair enough, we're in the off season. We can kind of do that hindsight, but I think he gave enough depth pieces this year in a year that could have easily been lost. Locker room giving up. There was enough guys that have proven they cared through adversity to have him keep his job into next year, and he got us Shane Steichen. I think that can't be missed out on. And yes, he was very unlucky early in his tenure. You have to factor that in when evaluating him. I get it's win above all else, but some of the shit he's had to deal with, I think he's persevered good enough to stick around. But let's go to Colts for Life. Had his hand up. Mostly a free for all. Probably these next foreseeable months. Trying to let everybody in here. Sorry about that. Spaces had some issues today, so let me know if there's any errors. But yeah, this is kind of the normal group, so no need to overly do hands. If somebody makes a point you want to chime in on, I trust this group here. So Colts for Life, go ahead and lead us off. You're the first with your hands, but yeah, free for all until it gets out of hand. But I don't expect it to. So Colts for Life, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna ask the group a question anyways. All right. So look, Pittman walks in free agency, right? Not Michael Pittman Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes third overall. Don't puke to the Patriots, right? If you're trading up to 4, what are you giving up to go get your second receiver off the board?
I hate being the guy to give up firsts for a receiver that's unproven. If I'm going to give up picks for somebody in, like if Pittman walks, like I want to give up picks for Mike Evans or AJ Brown or somebody who's like a similar play style or like but like better. Like I'd argue that AJ Brown and Mike Evans, like I'm always like I love Pittman, but I argue that like Mike Evans is like, or Pittman's like the great value version of like Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans does everything Pittman does, but like a little bit better. I'd rather do that instead of draft somebody that's unproven. And we got lucky
Or
with like gems later on in the draft too, with like Downs and shit. Like
I'd personally go sign Pitt pretty much at all costs, fair market value.
I agree there.
I would, man, to get to top 5. Like if Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to 5, gosh, I'm willing to go this year's first and next year's.
Got to do it for
I'll do it.
principle. Bring
Yeah.
Marv
But
home.
I mean,
If Pitt walks and Marvin
up
Harrison
there.
Jr. is gone, who are you
Yeah, you're
taking? And what are you giving up?
Oh, then I'll stay put at 15.
Yeah,
And you'll sign somebody?
Yeah, you gotta
here's the thing,
realize.
guys.
I think the Panthers traded up from 12 to get to. I think they were at what 8 to get
They
to
were at
1,
9. They were at 9.
and they traded away a ton of
Yeah.
draft capital and then a first round pick next year. And we're coming from, I'm gonna say seven picks after that to potentially jump
and
in the
DJ
top
Moore
5.
too.
Like we,
So the only thing, because I agree, like I think you could go sign like, or not sign, but trade for AJ Brown. But the only thing about AJ Brown is he seems to be a character and like not in a
He's
good
a
way. You know
diva.
what I'm saying?
Fuck him.
He's a diva, bro. Like, and that's cancerous as fuck.
I
So
don't think.
that's
I don't think.
questionable. And I like Mike Evans, but Mike Evans, like you gotta imagine in the next 2 or 3 years he falls off.
But I mean, you
Maybe.
can't discount 1,000 yards every fucking season. He's almost 30 years old and he hasn't showed any signs of
Right.
slowing
You also
down
have to
yet.
remember if you go for Mike Evans, what you'd have to pay him and how much you're going to have allocated in between Pittman and him. And
Well,
I
no,
don't know
but
why
that's
any.
just, the
I
only
don't
way
know
you're
why
getting
any.
Pittman doesn't
Evans
move.
is if Pittman
Yeah,
leaves. The only way you get
If
Evans is
Pittman
Pittman
leaves,
leaves.
is what he said.
there's no way in the world we can go like. I just don't understand. Like our offense really wasn't. For one, this wide receiver class is a generation. I know someone had asked. Yes, Jared Verse over Latu, but this is like a generational wide receiver class. I can't remember any time that there's been this many top end receivers. There's like the top 4, and then even the next 4 guys or so are also like extremely good. You know,
Right.
anyone would be, and like the defense. We have like the 25th ranked defense. I don't know why anyone is trying to like worry about trading up picks to
So
go take a receiver.
I'm just saying
We have
if
to go
Pittman
get.
left, you know what I mean?
If
Like, I'm just saying
Pittman
if Pittman
left, I
left,
mean,
you have to because I think we can all agree that I think someone else earlier in the space said it's a country mile between Pittman and the next receiver. Like he's really our best receiver on the team. So if we lost him, like I feel like you're stuck between a hard place at that point because you have to address that, especially with. And I'm not saying Anthony
if he
Richardson's a
leaves,
bad quarterback, but for someone that isn't
yeah,
as good as
I
Josh
don't
Allen
think
or
he
Patrick
leaves.
Mahomes.
I mean, that's a hypothetical that I don't even know if it's worth talking about because
If he did.
I don't see any scenario where Pitt leaves.
Cole, if
I
I
think
answer your question, if Pittman does leave, the next bet I would go after is T. Higgins, because you got to look at what you're giving up and the age quality. Because I know Cincinnati's not going to be able to pay both Jamal Chase, Earl, and Higgins, and I think they're kind of similar player. Maybe Higgins just a little bit notches it. I don't think anybody in the draft, and probably Undisputed could shine in, deserves to get given up multiple first rounds to pick up.
Hey,
Being
No.
honest.
let me jump in here and give my comment, guys.
Oh my goodness,
Let me say this.
Jesus.
And I got something for you, Undisputed. It's a question for you, but let me say this about that topic really quickly. This is Indiana, baby. If today didn't tell you anything, it told you this. This is Indiana. We don't play defense here, baby. We just gonna outscore you. That's what's going on. You go get the top receiver.
Yep. And hey,
We'll figure out everything else.
how many titles has that led to the Pacers?
Hey, it just
Wah,
happened.
wah,
Just happened today.
wah,
Just happened today.
wah,
Just happened
wah,
today.
wah.
It's not like
And hey, I know
we're
we're
the
having this
Bulls
receiver talk.
waiting
I
on
know.
some injured point guard to come back.
Hey, I know we're talking about receivers right now, but Ray, I still have to cook you on all that Ballard bullshit.
Well,
Oh
well
my
let me
god.
let me
Hold on,
add this
Undisputed.
in.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Save it.
Let me
Save it.
add
Save
this
it.
then. Let me get in here on Undisputed really quickly, because I'm starting to get a little suspicious about you, Undisputed, because you always want a D lineman and a tight end. What's that
Oh
about?
my
I'm
god.
getting suspicious about you, bro.
What?
Undisputed wants
You
us to
always want a
sign
D
every
lineman or
Ray.
a tight end.
Ray
I'm just
Love.
saying, it's just a question.
When have I ever said a tight end?
Ray
He's
Love.
got a
I don't
little bit
know.
of a point,
Undisputed wants to
though. I
sign
mean,
everybody on
when's the
Florida
last
State.
time we won the fucking division? I mean, I'm not a hater, but at the end of the day, you got to be realistic. Like, I'm 25 years old, and the last time the Colts won the division, I was fucking 15. So the fact that Houston took the division, like from us, like that makes me fucking sick as fuck. That Houston is saying that they won the AFC South before we fucking did again. That
Hey,
makes me fucking sick.
what did they do this offseason? They got aggressive. They went and got their quarterback, and they traded up and got a number one edge. You know, like they go
None
do
of
those
that
aggressive moves.
matters. None of that mattered. You got your quarterback. If we had our quarterback, I guarantee you, CJ Stroud wouldn't be getting talked about.
We can just
Guarantee you.
transition into this. Ray Love, you were talking about like Ballard not spending, and then you're bragging about him spending on a kicker and a backup edge from the 49ers that we got that is like would be a good number two edge on like any other team. Like Ebicom is he's
Solid.
yeah, he's solid. That's not and then you're defending that as like Ballard, oh yeah, he goes out and spends and blah 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 and does this. And when you say, oh, we're right there, that's been Chris Ballard's MO
Where
his
we at? What's
entire
the
existence.
location?
And when you're a game or two, when you're a game away from the wild card, a game away from the division, you're acting like this is baseball, like a 162 game season, and we had 95 wins. We were a game away from the division. Like there's every division, half the league is within a game of
No, the
the
hell
or
they're
two of the
not.
play. There's when you go into on the hunt on both sides, there's a third of the league is in the hunt. So to be in the hunt as
Like
being like
everybody in the AFC was like
I'll say
9 or 10
yeah,
wins almost. Yeah.
look,
to say that like we're right there and he's built this roster and this and that. The problem is when you say he's right there, the problem is he ignores rooms and he ignored everyone in this space knows that the secondary was an issue from the moment Isaiah Rodgers got suspended, and he did nothing about it. And the thing is, if he would have, there's a realistic chance that we wouldn't have had to win the last week of the
you're
season
going to see
to win the
growth from
division.
those
That's what I
young
was gonna
guys,
say.
though. You're
That's
going to see
So
you're going to see growth from those young guys from playing this year into next year.
Undisputed.
What
That's
do
what
you
I was
mean?
gonna say real quick.
Even if it's a depth piece, you're going to see improvement from those
Hold
guys
on.
from playing in the system.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sign a bunch of free agents, and we're not gonna grow our own. Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're saying?
Before
Hold
you
on,
You
change
have
let's get to Huyin. Huyin's been trying to get in a word.
Ray, look, before you change the subject, if we stick to the game of the Houston and Colts, I'm gonna be honest with you. We didn't lose because of quarterback play. Yes, I know it came down to the last play because of Minshew and Goodwin. But if we rewind, our defense, especially our corners, could not literally hold up play. Like
We
Stroud
only
was
scored
One
converting.
guy
three
went out.
points in the
Only one
first
guy went out.
half, though. That
No,
you got to play some of the blame
but
on the
Max,
offense.
if we look at it though, our defense, how many times did we get Stroud and the Houston defense third and long, and they converted? That's where we got to look at. Like, if we turn one of those third and long into a turnover, we have a better chance of winning that game
So
than
so
them going all the way
Let me
Okay,
back.
say,
there's a
so
question I
let me
could
say
ask just
this
to get
really
everybody
quickly.
off that. What do you think? Like, what do we need to do? Because, like, I feel like that was our fucking Achilles heel on defense. Was like, I feel more scared about fucking 3rd and 15 than I did on 3rd and 5 and shit. Like the whole season. Like, what the
And
fuck
Matt,
we
So
need to
so
do?
let
that's
me
my
let me
number
let me let
one
me say
problem.
something really quickly, guys.
Let me and I'll say this because two things. As much as it
Let
pains
me
me to
say
say this,
something.
I actually agree with Undisputed in the way that we lost people that were supposed to come in and ultimately do what they need to do with Isaiah Rodgers. And the thing is, it's just like it was addition by subtraction because Ballard went with those guys that we had. Like, yes, they were young. Yes, that they were not necessarily expected to do a whole lot, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't go and inquire about something. I think, case in point, you had Marcus Peters out there for the longest time. And Marcus Peters could have came into this system potentially and been able to go and be another veteran in that room because, like I said, I think Marcus Peters plays, I'm going to say, a very similar style to what you can possibly see with Juju Brents or Jalen Jones. And that would have done wonders with making sure that you have a veteran in that room because Isaiah Rodgers, to me, outside of Kenny Moore, was supposed to be that veteran guy. And of course, he didn't play in there. But then if we're looking at right now, once again, nobody's saying that we need to go and sign 3 and 4 free agents and then go and draft because the thing is, that's asinine to think that you can go ahead and fill 3, 4 spots. Now, if you do have a premier guy at either rusher or corner, like I said, I mentioned earlier, you have, if Brian Burns goes, let's just say, for example, or you have Jalen Jones in free agency, you go and you get him immediately because then you decrease exactly what you need so that you don't have to go and say, oh, yeah, we need edge rusher. How many edge rushers has Ballard drafted ever since he came in? Because I can tell you right now, Kamoko Toure, Taekwon Lewis, Kwity Paye, and Dio Adenibo are 4 off the top of my head, and I'm sure that he's drafted more than that. And the thing is, we are still to this day looking for another edge rusher. Like, that's the problem. Like, we have yet to find or be able to go ahead and nail down the guy who's supposed to be that guy on the outside. And I think that's where you go and you say, yes, we need one. We need to go ahead and just find a dog. Like I said, Hassan Reddick one year was out there, and Hassan Reddick has been doing wonders. But the thing is, if you're just going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, well, we have a number and then that's what we're going to hit. But, like, that's not solving issues. And then we're going on year 7 of needing an edge rusher when he's drafted edge rushers. And
Because
that's where that's
part
where
of
the
the problem
problem
is,
is.
not to interrupt, but part of the problem is because he goes for these guys that are fucking, that are, they're good run stoppers, and he thinks he's going to turn them into pass rushers. He doesn't go on position or on, production. He goes off of the guys with tackles for loss, the guys that, like, it doesn't matter if they were injured, doesn't matter, like, he thinks he's going to turn them into it, and that's why he's drafted multiple, what was Toure's day 2? Toure was day 2, wasn't he, like, second or third round or some shit?
Toure,
Yeah, day
Toure
two.
was Toure was the day Toure was day 2 during that draft
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Dio day 2, Taekwondo, like, he thinks that you can just, like, for once, I've been saying it all year, just please for once go and actually take a leap and get, like, a fucking true number one. Like, there's 3 or 4 of them in this draft. Like, for once, fuck.
The
It's
biggest,
just,
you
it's
guys are
Hey,
missing the whole
hey,
biggest issue though. You're missing the big issue. Real quick, and the way you can go. The biggest issue is these problems didn't just come up during the season. Everybody, if you go back to media day before the season started, the biggest question that all the reporters were asking Chris Ballard is the secondary. The secondary. You got one suspended. You traded away Gilmore, which, in my opinion, I'm like, that should have never happened. And I hate when folks say, oh, he didn't want to be here. Listen to me, bro. The man was under contract. Okay, we want to win as bad as Dallas wants to win. And the man signed a 2-year contract. He's tied down to us, and he has to. We can't be giving every player easy out just because they don't want to
Nobody,
be here.
but nobody thought we were going to win like that. So it was like, get
But
what you
that's
can
but
from it.
that's how you
Get
gotta
what you
have that
can.
mentality. But you gotta have that mentality though. 5th round for like how many? Let's be honest. How many games did Gilmore win us? I can count 3 games he won us that season on final plays that we needed. You know what I mean? And one
Correct.
more
But it was
year of
like
have right.
it was like Matt Ryan. It was a gesture of goodwill, and I understand that that isn't necessarily a good look on business aspect, but
No, I get that. So if we go back to the secondary, that's what we were talking about. Everybody was talking about, yo, we need secondary help. Yo, we need secondary help. And Ballard just sit there and said, I'm okay with my young guys. I'm fine with them. And then they end up being our Achilles heels. Every wide receiver, good or bad, was doing 100 on us from the beginning, from Nico Collins to Devontae Adams to Hopkins to all these guys.
Ridley.
As soon as they played us, they turned to monsters. Like they literally like nobody like the fact that we won 9 games and receivers were doing Puka Nakuda came out like literally like and it's so crazy. It's like I understand if you have like multiple receivers to guard, but literally Nico Collins the only like why are we not doubling him? Why are we not tripling? It's not like Houston had other weapons that day. You see that
And they were
it's
missing
fresh.
their number 2, 3, and 4 receivers.
Literally one
Talk
guy.
about issues. You're not getting any
Okay,
pressure
let
on the
me get in here
quarterback.
now,
Like, bro, our
guys.
secondary is
Let me
getting
let me
cooked
get
by
in here.
motherfuckers named
and
Rashid
and we
Shaheed.
yeah, and we
Okay, let
should
me let
be
me
we
get
Yeah,
in here,
should
Rashid
guys.
can
Shaheed's
can I
pretty
say
good.
Ray, can I just say
He's
one
kind of
quick
nice.
thing?
He's like kind of nice. I can't let you get by that.
I
He's
just
just
want
fast. You can't get beat when he's a
yeah.
one-trick pony.
Tyreek
That shit
Hill is
pisses
just
me off.
fast. Tyreek Hill is just fast. Come on now.
I just want the free agency the number one priority. Like Jalen Johnson would be like Ballard should do anything in the world. Like we have no veteran presence there, and it's just like I'd so much rather address. A corner is a tougher position to adapt. It's harder for guys to they're not everyone's Sauce Gardners and Devin Witherspoons and stuff. Like so, it's just the corner is the one I'd much rather just address corner
What
in
So
draft
what's
and
let
then
top?
me
go ahead.
What's
So
everybody's
Yeah.
so
top contract you would give to a free agent corner? Like
let me
no more than like
$12 million.
15, 20 million,
Who?
12?
okay,
What's the
let me
Well,
get in
ballpark?
here,
$13.
guys.
Like a top
Hey
paid
guys,
corner for money.
hey guys, let me get in here really quickly. Um, so I'm about to walk outside and I'm gonna go pick an edge rusher off of my tree outside. These guys don't grow on trees. You're talking about, everybody's talking about, oh,
We didn't need a
go get
pick.
an
We
edge
didn't.
Jesus
rusher.
Christ, Raylan.
Well,
They don't grow
they
on
don't
damn
grow in day
trees.
they don't grow in day two. I'll tell you that much. So
So
Hey,
here's my
hey, hey, hey,
thing.
hey, hey, let me finish this off really quickly. Um, and everybody's talking about you need to go get this free agent and get that free agent. Let me tell you this, guys. I never played
Daryl
in the
Baker,
NFL. I've never played in the NFL.
Yo,
Um, and I never played GM before except for on Madden. But um,
Daryl Baker.
this is the thing that I know. Free agency is a two-way street. A player has to want to come here. And when you don't have a solidified quarterback option, are you going to want to play for a team that you don't know the future of their quarterback? I'm just asking. It's just a
But Ray
question.
Love,
Just
when
a
they do
question.
come, do you let them go though? When they do come, do you let them go for free? Like just walk away?
Yes, Gilmore was old. He was over 30. You're trying to rebuild. This was a retool year. Retool. We're retooling the whole thing, baby. Trying to not building it from scratch, but we're
Gilmore
building
in
it halfway back
Gilmore
up.
late in his 30s would have been our best receiver, best cornerback this season,
Yeah, and
regardless of
if
his
you
age.
and we want volunteers, if same with Hines, like when Hines came and was like, I want to trade at the deadline, bye bye, see ya. Like, yeah, that season wasn't going anywhere. But same with Gilmore in the offseason. Yeah, I want traded. Yes, a fifth is kind of annoying after him, doing a slightly above average. I don't think that's too out of bounds to say. Yeah, I think a fifth may have been a little cheap to take, but nobody else was giving you that. So
And you
it
know
is what it
what
is.
that was called, Cole? That was called good faith. You know, just because the guy's under contract and you're looking at a different trajectory of where you want to go team philosophy wise, that just because he's a good player and had an okay season, that doesn't mean let's put the handcuffs on him and say, no, you signed a contract, you can't get out of here.
So if DeForest Buckner comes tomorrow and says, guys, I want to go back
That's
free
a
agency,
different
do you let
that's a
him?
different conversation because
We're
he's
gonna
gonna still
talk
be
through
2
it.
years old.
We're
But
gonna
you have to
talk
say it's
through
all
it.
about the principle though. Like I feel like you letting Gilmore go. I understand, whatever you got where you're coming from, but I just feel like you letting go. It feels like you don't believe in your project. To be honest, that's how I feel like. Like
You're
if you're getting
you're
some good
rebuilding.
compensation,
But if
Yeah,
he came
I
in
don't
here
think
and played
Ballard
like
over.
shit, you'd complain that you paid him $12 million a year.
I don't think the moves Ballard made last year were overly him believing in the project, though. At least last year, even if Richardson was healthy all year, I don't think Ballard was serious enough. This past year. I think that changes next year. And yes, that's an indictment on Ballard. That's one for the anti-Ballard camp for sure. But I think how he handled a lot of the holes last year was pretty deplorable. Adam and Salmon or Salmon, you guys are I think, well, Salmon talked earlier. Adam, if you have any group discussion items, same with you, Salmon, for coming back on. Salmon, correct me, please.
both of them.
Both of them. And neither of them come off mute to. There we go. There's Adam.
I'm agreeing with the student about the cornerback position. Um,
sign that in free agency. And like the biggest thing about all those receivers and going off on us, because guess what? We didn't do. We didn't get pressure on the quarterback. There was no pressure on the quarterback. Like you have to get pressure,
Preach.
or else he's not gonna freaking. He's gonna blow you up every time. Like Jake Browning went off on us. Jake fucking Browning. Like who the fuck is that guy? Made him look like freaking Aaron Rodgers. Like Jesus Christ, like it's terrible. Like I was at that game freezing my ass off, and like watching this game about freaking Jake Browning going off, like ridiculous. But like the reason why that happened, we had no legit pass rush. Well, I wouldn't say legit pass rush, but we have somewhat of a pass rush. But we don't have a game changer, and like if you get pressure on the quarterback, like C.J. Stroud struggles under pressure. We didn't get any pressure in the game. We got multiple stops on defense, but we never got pressure. But that's just my take.
Yeah, similar to the Atlanta game for sure. Adam, you actually kind of sound like Aaron Rodgers now that I think about it. After you mentioned it, good sultry tones there. Atlanta, we didn't get any pressure either. Same with Cincy.
Let me put this thought on you guys' head, and this comes from the great Coach Rick Venturi.
Great as
those guys are on scholarship too, so let's not act like we're going out there playing bums. They get paid. So let's stop acting like that, guys. Like we're supposed to be what's the movie with Michael Jordan whatever
Space Jam?
whatever those guys were called
Like Mike?
yeah
Monstars.
The Monstars.
yeah, act like we're just them and going to get some freaking bums. They're on scholarship too. They get paid too. And don't get me started on Jake Browning. That was check down city. It was check down city all damn day. Daryl Baker locked up Jamar Chase. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget it. Let's not forget it.
He went there. He went there. He went there.
Jamar Chase, 3 catches for
like
28 yards.
The
3 catches for 28 yards.
Show.
Oh man, he locked him up. He locked his ass up. It was Daryl Baker Island, baby, that day.
Ray, wasn't that your guy that let someone completely wide open in the end zone at the last game? Was it that your man?
The last game left him open in the end zone.
No, that was Rodney Thomas. That was Rodney Thomas. That was Rodney Thomas.
Oh, my bad.
No, that's Rodney Thomas.
Oh yeah. Daryl Baker. If Daryl Baker was out there, he would have locked that shit up.
Okay,
it wouldn't have went up.
I gotta shut this down. Ray, you were very sour on Daryl Baker after the last game of the season.
Yeah, I was. And you know why? Because I have no respect for a guy who misses a standardized tackle. It was standardized. Okay. You would have had him in what? It would have been what? Probably about 3rd and 8 at that point instead of 3rd and 2.
Oh,
so
he was the one who missed the Schultz touch. The Schultz tackle.
Yeah, he missed that. He missed that.
He did something in the game.
So that's what I blame Baker for. But other than that, he had an okay season. You know, he's a young guy, still learning. But once you go young in a certain position group, you're going to have growing pains. These guys aren't going to come out here and be all freaking pros and pro bowlers. It's going to be issues, guys. We can't address every need in free agency. And I don't know who it was, but this is no disrespect to you, but give me a freaking break. Marcus Peters, he's a freaking bum. So don't get me started on him. Marcus Peters? Marcus Peters.
What the hell? It's Daryl Baker.
Yeah.
Oh, Daryl Baker clears Marcus Peters every damn day.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Ray Love. Don't do that.
Okay.
He clears.
Hey, one of them was on a roster through the offseason. So.
I wanted to
and Peters got cut. He got cut because he's a bum.
I wanted to address what Adam was saying about the pressure. Why is Gus Bradley not fired, bro? Because like even Cole was upset with him. The fact that listen, if you're not getting home with four men, up the ante, make it 5. Like the worst.
It's not even that either. It's like you've seen some of the games of the playoff games. Like disguise your freaking coverage and blitzes better. Disguise that shit.
Seriously, like this is the thing. This is what I'm scared of. That we get into this lingersy of we gotta do continuously. We gotta stick together. No, if somebody's not doing his job, like bro, I think we have the most simplest, easiest defense to read possible.
Yeah,
literally.
let me add in something real quick though. So look, did you know? So like, I think it's 12 of the 14 playoff teams finished in the top 12 or top 14 offense, right? Only 7 NFL teams that made the playoffs finished in the top 14 of top defenses, right? So you're in an offensive league. So I'm not saying that like the defense isn't. I'm not saying cornerback and D end is not a priority, but like we also have to like figure that to keep up with Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. You know what I mean?
Sure, no, I agree with you. I'm actually the offense. I'm grading on a curve just for the fact that Richardson wasn't there. If Richardson was
Yeah.
there, then I'll be. But I know the limitations of Minshew and me. Like I told Cole earlier. I said I feel comfortable more with Minshew not being like I forgot what the wording I think I used. I was like more. I'd rather Minshew be more of a manager than Costas. If that makes sense, I'd rather him just be standby and just do what he needs to do, hit the check downs here and there, then try to go over because at the beginning of the season, this man was just a turnover freak. I thought we had another Matt Ryan in our hand. I'm glad he got that under control. So I completely agree with you. This is definitely an offensive league. Like if you're not putting points on the board, it don't matter. You could be having the top the what is it, the 89 or 95 Bears. It don't matter. You're gonna be losing. You need to be able to put. But I'm this season alone, I'm grading the offense on a curve just for the fact that Richardson wasn't there.
I mean, that was part of the problem with the Texans game, the last game. The defense was getting stops. The offense was moving the ball down the field after that first drive. Like,
Not even a little bit. I mean, JT opened it up, and then you kind of
yeah, in the second half.
Yeah.
But like there was in that first half, how many times did the defense finally stopped them after that first bomb play?
No, I mean, the defense
stopped
kept them in the game that first half, 100%.
Yeah, and like the offense should have scored more points. And then you got Matt Gay freaking missing a kick. Like, thanks a lot, buddy.
And let me
Matt
say
Gay, I'm
this
gonna
too,
give
guys.
a
Let me
break
say this too.
personally.
I don't know, man. That's a little too much money to be paying some guy who's missing kicks in a big game. Just saying.
Hey,
I'm not
guys.
saying like it's an excuse, but like having a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if you have kids, but like because I don't have kids, but that first kid, you know what I'm saying? Like life changes like a motherfucker. So I'm not saying that's completely an excuse, but like yeah, it's like Ryan Kelly. Like everyone was ready to write Ryan Kelly off, and then he came back and he had a career year. You had to give
I'm
him a
just
little
saying,
bit of
like,
time to
look at
bounce
Chase
back.
McLaughlin for the Bucks. He had a better season, and he's getting paid way less than Matt Gay.
So we have to expand this past 1 year. We have to go 4 years. We have to go 4 years.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, really quickly, guys. I respect everybody's point. That's all fine and dandy, but you know what? Let's stop focusing on the past. Let's look ahead to the future, baby. That defense, it won't matter. It won't matter if we're giving up bombs or giving up this or that. You got a force multiplier at the quarterback position. So when AR comes back, baby, we're putting up 30 a game. So all that defense and get a top edge rusher, that shit won't matter. We're putting up 30. Putting up goddamn 30. They gonna have to catch up to us.
Can you please let's fucking focus on him fucking just finishing some games before we start talking about the
Hey, it was a year of the backup quarterback. Let's stop
if
it.
he
Let's
finishes
stop it. It was
games,
an outlier.
if he finishes games, I think the offense is top.
Rayla,
top
what's
7
the
or 8.
point? What's the point of AR putting up 30 when your boy Baker's giving up 40 though? Like, how are we gonna keep up with that?
Giving up 40. Let's cut it out, guys. Like I said, these other guys are on scholarship too. You know, if you're not technically sound, you're gonna make fuck ups. So he needs to get better in the offseason. But I guarantee you, let him get another year in this system, and he's gonna show you the improvement that he can make. I'm not saying he's gonna be a lockdown corner, but this is my whole thing. And just on a serious note, guys, this is my thing about defense. You're not going to get to the quarterback every time, and you're not going to shut these grade A top receivers down every time. What I want to see from this defense is being situationally better. That's all. That's all I want to see. I don't give a damn about pressure rate and top edge rushers and undisputed wants a tight end and DN on his
I've never
team
said tight end, ever.
whatever he wants. I don't give a damn about it. Be situationally better. That's all I care about. When it's
When have
3rd
I
and
ever?
15, don't give up a fucking first down. That's
When
all
have
I
I
care
ever
about.
said?
Dallas Flowers back next year.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
he could be
Lockdown City,
good,
baby.
yeah, he could be a good solid piece. Reminder that we are getting new turf next year, so hopefully that limits some injuries. No idea.
Thank
It's a
God.
better synthetic version though, so it's not
It,
actual grass. And
That
then
field was playing against us.
all we
Hopefully, it's
ever
yeah,
talk
that
about
at
with
life
guys,
turf.
all we ever talk about with guys is good solid guys. Never game changers. Never. It's always we're just relying on these good solid guys. These day two, day
Anthony
three, good
fucking
solid.
Richardson.
So I don't care. Anthony Richardson does not
He's
make
the
up for not
quarterback. Why
having
don't you
lack of
care about the
playmakers everywhere.
quarterback?
That does not make it up for just having
Yes,
lack of
it
playmakers
does.
everywhere else. No, because do we think
Mahomes.
is he Mahomes? Are you
Well,
really already calling him
CJ
hey,
Mahomes?
hey,
Stroud.
He
hey,
hasn't
Undisputed
hey,
CJ
he
hey!
hasn't
Stroud.
even finished
Don't
two
get me
games.
started on AR.
He
Don't
hasn't
get
even
me
finished
started.
two
I
complete
think
games
his
yet.
best comparison is
It's
Josh
early
Allen,
in
to
the
be
off
honest.
season. Don't get me
Who
started on that topic yet. Don't get me
He hasn't
started,
even hey
undisputed.
two finished games he needs to have before
Two,
you can start fucking talking about Mahomes, dude.
two.
Two.
Hey,
Undisputed?
listen.
Let me ask you though,
How many
who's
games did
another
Deshaun
difference
Watson
maker
play?
on the
Joe
Texans?
Burrow. Come on now.
hold on, Ray Love. Go to Colts for Life and then Colts Pacers records. Colts for Life. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm
Undisputed.
getting your ass soon,
What's
undisputed.
another
Just wait.
what's another standout player on the Texans other than CJ Stroud? And I don't even want you to count because Nico Collins is good, but CJ Stroud makes him better.
I mean they have a star left tackle, like one of the best left tackles in the league. They have Tank Dell.
Okay, but we're talking impact players because again, I'm not trying to but like we can put Quentin Nelson on that as well, right? I mean, I'm just saying like and you could put a lot of linemen on that. I'm saying like another impact player around him that like
I mean,
lifts the team.
Stingley is great. I mean, they Will Anderson Jr.
Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz.
I'm not disagreeing.
Like
I don't think Will Anderson Jr. won't be good, but if I remember right, he only had 7.5 sacks.
yeah, but he gets at the quarterback all the time. That's like this is why like Colts fans like, oh dude, it's like we just
Braden
associate
Smith
like
locked his ass
We get to
down.
the
it's
we
just
get
like
to the quarterback though. I'm not saying we do it
we
consistently, but to
exactly
have
we don't
51 sacks and to have 51 sacks.
yes and look at where so many of them came from against some of the worst lines. We got to play the
You
Patriots. We
play
got to play
who's
the
on the
Titans
schedule.
twice. Yeah, okay, but yet
Miss me with that bullshit.
you can still use a little bit of nuance and look at where those sacks came from against what team. And when it came to anyone with that was even halfway decent of a line, we couldn't get pressure on them. Just like anytime we played any decent wide receiver one, they fucking crushed us. They would have 200 yards.
Exactly. Wide
They
receiver
do that a
one.
lot.
These
Let's be
guys are
honest. I don't
star
know those
players.
receivers
What do you
good to a lot
expect
of
Ray,
teams.
to shut
Ray,
them down?
There aren't
Ray.
many teams that.
Undisputed wants us to draft the whole FSU.
No,
No.
that's not
defense.
He
even.
He
wants us
does.
to
I don't.
draft all the D ends and tight ends. That's what the hell he wants.
I don't know why you keep saying tight end. That's the last
Cause
position I
I'm
think.
getting suspicious, bro. I'm getting suspicious.
Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's oh man, this is
All
just
right,
we just associate sacks with being good passers. Like yeah, Will Anderson
So
has
that's
seven and a
not.
half sacks.
Colts Pacers records. Let's go to him. He had his hand up, and then a couple more comments, and maybe look about winding this one down. Colts Pacers records. Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, I was just listening to this whole argument that was going on. I'm just in the background, like
Sorry to hear
laughing. It's
that.
like, yeah, I'm not gonna insert anything because I'm not trying to start any arguments over here because some people will take it too seriously.
No,
But
all love in this group. Everybody's an OG on here at this point. But go
We're
ahead.
all
okay, so what I think we should do for the off season, just like we already have like decent pieces. Yeah, focus on the draft and see who's best available for our needs. Doesn't matter. We can all the fans can say is, "Oh, let's draft this player," but like they're gonna draft based on needs and not just like what the fans say or something, which is usually how the process goes. But I think we should just focus on the off season, see what we do, and then be patient for next season. And then we get AR back, and then hopefully because AR's had more time in the system, he'll actually do better. Like, not saying he was bad, he was actually good in the little bit that we got to see him play. Like, no, his stats aren't gonna blow your mind, but his stats weren't that bad either.
Yeah, I think for the Richardson, not really worried about him next year aside from just keep him as healthy as possible. In terms of how to approach the draft, Ballard is more of a guy who drafts for need than best available player, and he's kind of had to do that. Even with quarterback last year, like he probably would have preferred trading down, honestly, if we didn't need a quarterback. But we got our guy, so yeah, I think gun to head, he stays put and gets a end. I would like him to trade up for a wide receiver, but and address corner in free agency. But that's kind of just my thinking. Let's go to Julian had his hand up, and then Ray Love, and we'll start to wind it down here. Julian, go ahead.
No, a couple of points. Number one, Cole, I wanted to put next season. I want to put a request when you're starting the post match. If we get our ass beat, please don't give me the stats of the opposing team because I don't want to hear about Nico Collins dropped 180 and two. I don't care. I don't want to hear that, especially after a loss. So
Yeah,
if you can reframe that, just a suggestion. You
I
don't have
appreciate
to.
it. Yeah.
I would like that. You know what I mean? Because that just be boiling my brain every time I hear. Because you know when you're watching the game and when you're hearing the stats, it's different. When I hear people got like 3 sacks on us or something, like, oh hell no, that didn't just happen. But that was just one
Yeah.
suggestion for next season,
Remind me in
please.
September, please. I will
Yeah.
forget in these next
If we
8 months,
win,
but please.
go ahead, I have
Okay.
no problem. I'll listen to
Noted.
it when we win. But when we lose, it's just so hard because you want to start talking, and next thing you got Cole telling you this man just did this and that on you. Ah, shit, man. Uh, the other thing was I was gonna pass it on as a question. One of my friend was asking me, not to change up, but it's just a quick little would you rather. It's like he asked me. I think might have I might have to rephrase it because I don't really remember. He said, "Would you rather have 1 year in the NFL? Would you rather be 1 year playing in the NFL and have like a Hall of Fame year, All Pros, making it to Super Bowl, or would you rather have 10 years in the league, but you're basically a journeyman or you're just an average player? Which one would you guys? I want to go around real quickly. You guys, just a couple of you guys' thoughts on that."
Well, one more time, if you're a journeyman, or what was the other option?
You would okay. Number one is would you you'll be in the league for 1 year, just 1 year only, but you'll have a Hall of Fame year. You'll all pros, make it to the Super Bowl, all that good stuff. Or would you rather have 10 years, consecutive years in the league, but you're more of an average, getting traded multiple times type of player?
Oh, yeah. I'm no candle. I'm a firework baby. Yeah. I'm here to make a name, and then whenever it's my time, it's my time.
I need my bag, so whichever one pays me more. So if a
There
journeyman
you
pays
go.
me more, pay me that money.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anybody else?
Whatever scenario
Basically,
has me,
elite one season
whatever scenario has
or
me not
journeyman.
playing for Chris Ballard.
Oh, you would know. You would have to pick. No, no. Do you see your optimum Colts guy? That's what drives me insane. I would play for Ryan Grigson if it meant playing for the Colts. Are you
Yeah,
kidding
you.
me?
Hey,
Nah,
That's
not
because
if I was
Ryan
a
Grigson and
quarterback.
Chris
I ain't
Ballard
playing
are
for
like
that man.
almost the
I ain't
same.
playing for that man.
So
Stop it. That's no. Stop it. He drafted fucking Philip Dorsett. Stop it.
yeah, and I mean,
Who liked my tweet last week? Or 2 weeks ago. So big Philip
Didn't we
Dorsett fan.
trade him like a solid season for like a tight end or something? Or was it
Jacoby
before?
Brissett. He was in
Yeah.
the
Oh, it was
Jacoby Brissett trade.
golly, man. I remember that, bro. That man, that guy Ryan Grisham needs to be arrested. Is he like he needs to be
Dude,
arrested, bro?
I swear to God, he followed Mel Gibson's best available. He was like, "Oh, that's the next guy." Write his name down.
Ray Love, go ahead.
Okay. So I don't know everyone's religious beliefs, but
Okay, here we go.
I don't want to have a repeat of a prayer that we had a few weeks ago, but let me leave you guys with the scripture really quickly. John 13 verse 7. And I'm going to paraphrase this because I'm not going to get it all the way right. I don't have my Bible in front of me. But that scripture says, oh God, I forgot it. I'm going to paraphrase. So that scripture says, "You may not understand what I am doing now, but here therefore after you will." So I can just based off of that, I understand the criticism of Chris Ballard when you don't see the vision. I'm gonna just say that. But let me say this. I don't work for Chris Ballard. I don't get paid by him, and I'm not his water boy. I don't carry Chris Ballard's water. But I see the vision, so I support it. And let me say this too, as a follow-up. Let me get into the things that I am critical about Chris Ballard over. Because I don't agree with everything that he's done up until this point. Now, drafting AR, grand fucking slam, future Hall of Famer. Book it, goddammit.
You have
I don't
no.
think
This
it was
is
a good
such a
idea.
ridiculous
Hold on,
thing to
guys.
say, dude.
Hold on. Let's not touch it. I'm not gonna touch that just yet. It's early in the off season. I'm not gonna touch that just yet. Wait till the Indy 500. Then I may jump into something like that. Training camp time, and then I'll jump into that discussion. But I say that to say this, guys. My biggest issue with Chris Ballard was him being negligent. And once Andrew Luck retired, he continued to draft and make additions to this team, as in if he had that franchise quarterback still in place. And that's the only thing that I can blame Chris Ballard for. He needed to see the vision earlier to say, okay, I lost my quarterback. I need to retool this whole thing. And even if it means rebuilding it, that's what I need to do instead of continually add players that you can drop in and just expect the quarterback to come off the street and say, okay, we just need somebody to steady the ship instead of saying, hey, we need that game changer. We need somebody that's a high level quarterback and not just somebody to
Isn't
steady
that
the
what he
ship.
did though? Isn't that what he did though? He just basically kept pushing the whole
Yeah,
narrative
and,
down
and
the
that was my
road.
only issue. That's been my only issue this whole time, that he's built this roster out just like he still has Andrew Luck here. And that didn't change until this year. And that's my only gripe with Chris Ballard.
Fair enough.
Let's get to Colts for life, and then maybe a last around the horn. I saw CJ Colts fan hopped in here too. See if he has a last thought. But Colts for life, go ahead, and then CJ Colts fan, and then kind of do a last call here.
All right, man, we're gonna wrap it up. Yep. So I just have a quick question, kind of for the room. So Super Bowl team you want to see win, and Super Bowl and the team you don't want to see win. I'm just kind of curious. Personally, I want the
I'll
Ravens
go first
to get undisputed off AR's ass, and that a quarterback can't win a Super Bowl.
Well, let me go ahead and say this. The team that should win the Super Bowl didn't make it to the playoffs because their franchise quarterback got injured. Number 5, AR will be back and better than ever.
Yes, sir.
But I don't give a damn who wins it. Just give me a good game, and I just want an awesome Super Bowl party. If anybody's throwing one, I'll attend.
Yeah, I'd go Bills and Lions. I mean, two great fan bases. Not having much success. Don't want to see any other year. Well, not really. Yeah, I'll go Bills and Lions. Lions barely over the Bills.
I'm going for the Lions. Definitely don't want to see the Texans win or the Ravens.
Oh yeah, definitely do not want to see. Gosh,
Shit will win.
Chiefs, Ravens, 49ers, Packers.
No, we do not want to see the 49ers.
Yeah.
But no, shit.
I think it'll be pretty cool if the Lions win, because then we could be like this. We've seen a team go 0-16, and then that same team down the road win the Super Bowl. I think that'd be like a crazy thing to tell down the road. Like they
Especially
can
with Dan
witness.
Campbell being on the 0-16 team.
Oh, is he on this own team?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
wow.
Dante Culpepper action. Oh yeah.
That's
And
crazy. And then I was gonna say the team I don't want to see win is KC. I think KC's fan base has just turned turmoil over the years. The success has got to their heads.
I
They
think
really
Buffalo
got
knocks
to.
them out this week.
Because
I
of the
hope so.
Swifties or not because of the Swifties?
I think the Swifties just added to more fire, to be
He
honest. But
pissed you off. Yeah.
I think it was already burning. They just added gasoline to it because literally, I remember a couple of games. Was it the game we played them? And they were just super salty. I'm like, bro, you got Patrick Mahomes. Chill out, bro. You'll be fine.
That was like their worst ever game. Well, they've had some actual stinkers this year too. But yeah, the playoffs they of
Oh
course
my
turn it
Cole,
on.
did you see how crazy they went off of that offsides call? They think it was the worst. I think I probably didn't see Colts versus Browns penalty. Like
Yeah.
yours was called correctly. Like, chill out.
Right. Or people
And
DMing or tweeting about the I think it was Will Anderson Jr. last play of the Titans game or the Texans game, sorry, with his hand was offside and they're like he did it 2 or 3 times. I was like we could have won that game without that. Like come on Chiefs fans, grow up. So.
and let me add this too in there, guys. The NFL is about trends. And I don't know how far this trend goes back, but it's like this. And I'm gonna say the Ravens win the Super Bowl because when the Colts play
That's
a
my
team
pick
and beat
too.
them early in the season, they tend to go to the Super Bowl and win, just like KC last year. So let me just put that in there.
It was week 3.
Yeah, just like Kansas City last year.
Who do we play week 11?
Oh,
Or was it week
God.
12?
Week 11 we had a bye. Tampa was week 12.
Ravens and Buccaneers.
Book that shit.
If Baker gets Buccaneers to the Super Bowl, I think they need to build a statue in front of his that stadium because let's be honest, nobody had that on their bingo card.
Yeah, man, the Eagles just absolutely collapsed.
That shit
was
was
very
hilarious.
fun to see.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Do we think Sirianni's getting the boot?
No, they already are looking for coordinators together, I guess. So give me. I know I got a lot of hate for it. I did not mean it as an offensive coordinator or quarterback coach, but give me Brian Johnson, the guy who coached there at Florida, just as like an offensive analyst or retool for a year before he gets another job. Like it can't hurt to have multiple of Steichen's guys in the room. But let's get to CJ Colts fan. Any parting shots, and then we'll go around the horn one more time and get out of here.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out there, do with this information what you will, but can we please just spend this whole entire offseason not getting excited about depth signings? Because these depth if I hear depth signing twice, it's gonna start turning into a drinking game. I'm gonna turn into a drinking game.
But I love tweeting about the fringe guys who are undrafted free agents. Nobody ever reacts. I do. You guys the due diligence of looking into these guys, giving you all a tweet like Terrell Bynum today. I tweeted. I look up Terrell Bynum for a solid 20 minutes. Write a nice tweet about him. Find a nice picture of him. 2 likes. I mean that's what I live for.
Cole, you can only give us but so much information about the undrafted wide receiver from 2019 who also played basketball with Master P son back at ICDC College.
Are you talking about Ethan Furna?
We're not doing this season. Okay, we're not talking about depth signings. Okay, we're not doing this. Okay, we listen. If we get any signings, they need to be legitimate signings. Because I can't go through another offseason where we sign 2 people and we have 83 depth signings, and then we say we're comfortable with what we have. Absolutely not, Cole. I love the content. I love it for content purposes. But damn it, Cole, I'm just gonna start putting damn it, Cole whenever you post any depth signings.
I'm glad. I'm just glad everyone's catching up to Undisputed. 2 years later. Glad everyone's finally catching up.
We resigned our own, guys.
We're
signed
like
our
horn
own.
every time Undisputed start talking like that.
I must have missed where. Do I dare say the quarterback? Never mind. We'll wrap it up. Any more around the horns?
Hey, I also say we draft Jordan Travis because if AR gets hurt, at least
nobody wants that bum.
So, yep.
Oh no.
Okay, Cole, I got a couple of things before you close.
Yeah, go ahead, Huyen.
Number one thing, I think Colts this season is responsible for, if not contributing to at least having some type of influence of getting 3 coaches fired this year. Belichick, of course, that's definitely because of the Indianapolis Colts. Vrabel has something to do with it. Getting smacked twice by Minshew will definitely have an effect on you. And I forgot the third one. The third one's eluded me. I think it was gonna be. Reich I think was gone from the window. I think I was thinking what's the Eagles coach because we took the coordinator, but I think now that he says he's safe. The other thing I just want to say is I'm sorry, Undisputed. We cannot draft the entire FSU Trojans. Apologize. There's no way.
I mean, listen,
those pesky FSU Trojans.
Jared Verse is the main one.
What's that?
But even
criminal.
listen,
he's a criminal.
if it came to Latu and Verse, I don't even care. You could take either one. I really wouldn't be that upset. Like, it's not just about Florida State.
And
So
let me say
I
what.
got a question.
No, real quick, Ray. Let me say this real quick, and then about Ray Love. I know we don't like much depth signing, but I hope we sign enough depth in the center, cornerback position that Baker is demoted to the water boy or to practice squad
Let me
player.
let me add this in here, guys. I'm gonna get off for undisputed and about his DN um one of accusations about getting DNs. It's suspect to me, bro. But let me say this: it's revenge season next year, boys. We're coming back. AR is coming back. He's coming for everything that he lost. I'm expecting MVP caliber season, kind of like a Lamar Jackson second season where he came out and lit the league on fire.
Please don't compare
MVP
those two. Please
type of
don't compare
stuff.
those two.
It's the same goddamn thing. Stop it, undisputed.
It's been
Stop it.
revenge year for 8 years with Chris Ballard.
No.
That's all he's
He
had to
he
do
hasn't
is,
had
try to
AR.
hope for
He hasn't
revenge.
had AR. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Can
AR
we?
is the force multiplier. Force
I,
multiplier.
One thing I
Remember
also
that.
wanted to say, Ray Love, back to AR. Let's just all pray that this year is probably the first year where we're not hunting for a QB, regardless of how we feel about AR. If he is or isn't, at least we're not in that boat of picking up. Like, bro, I remember every year it used to be every bum free agent quarterback. We were on their heights, rather it's Derek Carr or whoever, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm so
Oh,
glad that's
Or
Mariota.
And
Baker
and
Mayfield,
and
who's currently in the divisional
Baker.
round of the playoffs with the
and,
Buccaneers.
Hey,
and hey
I
guys,
don't.
guys, and this is another thing I want to cut out for the next few months. Let's stop with the whole AR injury prone narrative. This guy bumped his knee on the turf a little hard, which happens. This guy slowed up in the end zone, which it shouldn't happen again. He knows better now, so that shouldn't be an issue. And just lastly, with the shoulder thing, it goes back to high school. That shoulder was never properly fixed. He didn't get surgery. He let it heal up on his own when he should have got surgery back in high school. So it was bound to happen at some point. That shoulder was weak. He got it fixed. It's gonna be back better than ever.
You're just
So
making all this up. This is
hold on,
all just
undisputed.
like
Hold on, undisputed. Hold on. Like I
No,
said,
no,
it's gonna be
he has
back better
Dr.
than
Records
ever.
undisputed.
Those type of things, it happens at some point. It's been a year of quarterback injuries. It was an outlier. He's gonna be back better than ever. Set the fucking league on fire. Just watch. And I don't want to hear anybody trying to jump on the bandwagon because this train is getting ready to leave the station, boys. It's getting ready to leave the station come September of next year, of this year. It's leaving the station. Don't try to jump on when it's getting rolling because we're not accepting any more passengers. Get your goddamn
You hear that
train
undisputed? No
tickets
more
ready.
dude,
passengers.
Get
Ray, I'm
ready.
truly
All right, and on that note, I appreciate the passion from Ray Love. Time to wrap it up here. Appreciate everybody as always. Again, first and foremost, prayers to Mr. Irsay. Unimaginable what him and his family are going through, what the situation really is. I'm sure more will come to light as it unfortunately did today. But it's best to see it, learn from it, and teach future generations about the potential dangers of addiction, or if it wasn't, to clear his name and make sure he's on a back to better health for sure. So appreciate the passion in these spaces, always do. Let's keep it up these next few months. I'll be here every Wednesday to talk draft, free agency, what's next. And yeah, presented by Rose Inc. Go get your fine line 3-inch tattoos starting at just $120 a day. She is just a half hour northwest of Indianapolis in Lebanon, Indiana. Say ColtsFanCole sent you for $10 off your next service. She also has gift cards. So if your mom, wife, sister, loved one gets permanent makeup too, she offers that. Eyebrow and eyeliner as well. You can say ColtsFanCole sent you for $10 off as well. So appreciate everybody for hopping on. As always, we'll see you next Wednesday, unless there's a breaking news event. But I really hope there's not, because I think the next breaking news event might be a very unfortunate one. So hoping that's not the case. Hoping we get our owner back in the fold, and this train keeps on keeping on, because I think a lot of stuff ahead next year. That's very next season. That's very good for us. So next steps too. We'll find out some contract stuff. We got until mid March, so all free agency speculation until then. But I'll be here every Wednesday to discuss all through it. Appreciate the regulars as always. If you're in here this long, you're definitely an OG. 0-2. Shout out to you. So thanks, guys. We'll hopefully see you all next week.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.